Good evening, everyone. It's Glenn Kellaway. How is everyone doing? It's Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. Time for our live chat. Just give me a second to get things set up here. Hope everyone having a great day. Had a lot of fun today working on my video on the Rolling Stones in mono colored box set. I hope you guys all got a chance to see that. Okay, I think we're rocking here. There we go. Now it's just waiting for my partners in crap. No, I I don't like ABBA. Hi Ryan, how are you? Thanks for joining us. No, I'm not an ABBA guy. Sorry. I know I am very what was I doing here? I don't want that up. I want that up and I want to edit this. Sorry, I'm still getting myself rolling here. Um, I'm not an ABBA guy, and I think I'm in the minority. People seem to love ABBA. So, great pop band, I'm told. Uh, uh, Tonight's topic is we are going to unveil our top 10 favorite albums from 1973 that turned 50 years old this year. 2023. Okay, that's cool. I'll save that. And like I said, it's 8 o'clock right on. So Sam's always 8:02. Rob's putting his son to bed. So I wish the Beatles and Mono was colored box set. One day maybe they'll bring that out, David. Wouldn't that be an interesting way to do it? But I hope it's all analog again for the sake of the people who did not get it the first time. And it would be kind of cool in colored vinyl. I think that would be a cool way to do it. Maybe they'll do the stereo box, even though it's analog. Um, yeah. Favorite Cars song? Man, oh, I can't even think off the top of my head. I don't listen to the Cars that much. I have a hits album. Um, Sorry, Ryan. I'm trying to think. I'll come up with one. Good evening, Shadow Man. Good evening. Oh, Dark Side of the Moon and the Ringo album. I bet you they get some love tonight. Uh, Good evening, Jason. Thank you for joining us. Moving in stereo. Sure. From speaker to speaker. I'm just trying to turn my stereo. Speaking of that, I got to turn my stereo off. I had it on. I can't let it play because I'll get a copyright shut down. What's up, John? How are you? Sam and Rob and I are going to do our top 10 favorite albums turning 50 years old today. So we're kind of excited about that. No, that's a car song. Oh, moving in stereo. See, I don't know much about the Cars. I guess I just proved that. Uh, the first song that came to my mind was their ballad, "Who's Gonna Drive You Home Tonight?" But that's not my favorite. Is She Really Going Out with Him? Is that a Cars song? I like that one. I can't think of any deep cuts because I just don't. I think I got the first Cars album. Candio, is that the one? I got that, and I got a Hits album, but I really don't listen to them very often. But they're a great band. There's no doubt. The Cars are very cool. Do you have Deep Purple? Yeah, I got a lot of Deep Purple. I'm a big Deep Purple fan, but I'm in the minority with Deep Purple. I like the first incarnation of Deep Purple from the first three albums. So, Songs of Taliesin. Um, what's the other one called? With Hush and that on it, and um, I thought I emailed it to you, Rob. I'm just going to put it on here then. This is for Rob, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. I emailed it just a few minutes ago. So, but hop on. You might think it's a good Cars pop song. Yeah, they don't sound familiar to me. Wait till Rob gets on. Maybe he's a Cars guy. There we go. Hey, Rob.
How you doing?
I just sent an email to you and Sam.
I didn't get it, man. I didn't get it.
Well, I'm hoping Sam got it. He'll, I guess he can jump on from here too.
Yeah, no, still don't have it.
Let me just send it again, just in case.
Maybe my email went, oh crap, it's Glenn. Let's show that in spam.
I will send it one more time. Okay, let's see if it went. Right on. What's going on, buddy?
Not too much, man. How about you? Oh, I got that email. Perfect.
Okay. Now people are no, that was the second one. I didn't put your name on it.
Oh, well, there you go. I just got it now.
Okay. So here comes Sam.
There he is.
There he is.
Hey, buddy.
Thanks, guys, for getting on board. I'm getting confronted with Cars questions. Any fans of the Cars between you guys?
The band or the mode of transportation?
The band.
Oh.
Yeah, I like the band. Levon Helm, Robbie, Rick.
No, not those guys. The Rick Ocasek
the car
guys.
band. Sorry,
yeah, when Rick Ocasek joined the band. Yeah.
I like Cars because it's a lot easier than taking the bus.
Yeah, I'm a casual fan, I would say. I have a greatest hits album.
Yeah,
I don't even have that. I think I know a handful of their songs and I like them, but it's a band that I just haven't got around to. I guess I would happily listen.
Their albums are good. I got Candy O. I think I got that album or something.
Yeah, I didn't really know him until Rich and I did our ranking of the first album with Aaron Mutha Alamere because he's a big Cars fan, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And so Rich gifted me the self-titled. That's all I have. I like that album quite a bit. But I mean, that's about the extent of my knowledge. That and then the other hits after that album.
John, we are no cutoff date. It's for the whole year. So since you are such a good guy, I would welcome you on. If you come up with 10, let me know on a comment, and you can jump on with us if you want to discuss it with us. Other than that, we'll leave it just the three of us. You have an exclusive, John. That's it. So album's turning 50. Oh, he's already done that. Bob F. Sam needs better lighting. He's in the dark.
Well,
not only that, you're in the bid dark.
Yeah. No, Bob. I've got plenty of lighting. I just don't like overhead lights.
I can see you fine.
Yeah, I apologize for people that can see me fine.
Actually, you shouldn't apologize because you look way better in the dark.
That's what they're telling me. Yeah. No, I hate overhead lights, so I usually just use lamps.
Oh, I see. I mentioned the Cars. I said, "Is she really going out with him?" That was Joe Jackson.
Is she really?
Is there Black Sabbath come out in '73? Yep. I didn't put one on my list, so I'm not sure.
There was one, but
Sabbath
I didn't put it on my list
right?
either. Sabbath. What was it called? Sabbath.
Bloody Sabbath.
Ryan wants to know our favorite Pink Floyd song.
You might think. Oh, that's the Cars.
Mine's Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun.
I really like Time.
Yeah.
I mean, to be basic, I could say Comfortably Numb. It's hard not to argue with that.
The first.
I was actually just listening to Momentary Lapse for the first time on my way home from work, and I was really enjoying that.
It's a good album, you know. I think a lot of Floyd purists don't like it because it's not Roger Waters. I think but it's well done with some good songs on it.
I think it's a really good song. Learning to Fly was a great single.
Yeah, I like that album. I like that and the Division Bell. I
got Division Bell still in Shrink. That'll be my next.
Floyd Houses of the Holy, yes, and not that kind of holy though.
Like Swiss cheese.
It hasn't got a house with a bunch of holes in it. Mine is Floyd's Remember a Day. What What album's that on?
I don't know. I don't know Floyd that well. I'm just now getting into their deeper cuts.
Okay, so tonight we are going to rank our top 10 favorite albums that were released in 1973, which makes them celebrating their 50th birthday this year.
50th.
How did you guys find doing this?
I redid the list 4 times, and I just finished the current version about 20 minutes ago.
Well, my thing was when I was going through the list. I mean, obviously, the first thing I did was look up on Wikipedia, albums from '73. Other than like the albums that I already knew of by like some of the bigger artists that are in my top 5. For me, I realize whenever I do these lists based on a year about how much my collection lacks, like for different years in terms of like, or for me personally being a younger guy, well, not really, trying to remember how many of these albums I've listened to in their entirety and then trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, saying like, I know like 4 or 5 of these songs on this album, but I've never listened to the full album. So do I give that, like an album, for example, like that probably would have been on my list. There Goes Ryman Simon. I've never heard that album in its entirety. I know most of the songs, but I've never heard the album in its entirety. So I didn't feel good putting it on my list.
Yeah. Well, that's a cool thing about doing it, though. It kind of, you're going to go, hey, I got to get this. This is an album I should be checking out. It's kind of.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what we've done for a couple of things. I mean, we were talking about U2 the other week, and I was at my record store over the weekend, Rob, and I bought on CD for like $3 How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. I just got October just came in the mail. I listened to Boy today for the first time. So I mean, I love these conversations. And Pink Floyd, that's because of Jeff. So it's all a domino effect.
Yeah.
And my wallet. Cool. My wallet is like, coming after you guys like a hitman.
I went through this list and I picked 20 albums that came to my head going, that's like not just albums that I kind of went, oh, they're okay. Albums that I really liked. There was 20 of them out of the whole year. And then I had to narrow that down to 10. And I think I got 8 that were just went must-haves. I was given them 3 stars, 2 stars, and 1 star. And I think I did 7 3-star albums, and then the other ones were really hard to put in. They were all just like, there's about 10 albums that could have gone from 8 to 10, like those last 3 spots.
Yeah, and that's I'm kind of in the same boat. Like my 10, 9, 8, even maybe my 7, they're kind of like, if they didn't make my list, I wouldn't lose sleep over it.
Even I got at number 10, I've got 4 albums written tied for number 10, and I'm not sure. I'm kind of pretty sure which one
Which one do you want to talk about?
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah.
Do you guys physically own all of your 10? Because I've got of mine. I physically have vinyl copies of 6 of them. The other 4 I've got digitally, and I listen to all the time. I just don't have them on.
We'll see. An hour before the show, I had my number 10, and I didn't know that number 10. And then I was going online. I was doing one more, like maybe I feel like I'm missing something. And I found one that ended up bumping up to like number 6. So my number 10 was gone. But even that number 6, I thought I owned it, but I don't have it. So I'm only missing 1. But
Wikipedia doesn't really give you a good complete list. Like there's other websites. I went on Wikipedia first and I went, there's got to be more than this. And I just started Googling other stuff and picking other sites. There was one site that had like 100 pages of albums from and it showed a picture of each album cover, and it was, I don't know how many pages, 30 pages of albums or something.
Yeah, and you've got to like differentiate, like, because like Wikipedia or whatever, Rolling Stone is only going to show you a certain genre. Like if you want to look at bluegrass, like for me and Glenn, it's like, all right, bluegrass albums, because they're not going to show up in a best of.
No,
never.
Yeah, I found one site. I should have actually bookmarked it because it was really good.
The first thing I did is I went to Discogs and I sorted my collection by 1973.
Oh.
So I saw what I own physically on vinyl from 1973. And there's, like I said, there's 6 of them.
Yep.
And then I went through my digital library and sorted by year and saw the albums that were in 1973 and put the ones I wanted out of that into my list. And then I went through Google and Wikipedia and whatever just to see, like Sam said, am I missing something? So I think I'm missing something, but I found some that were really good, but didn't change my top 10 in the final run through.
So last Saturday, Rob and I, we had a spontaneous live chat with Chris from Blue Sky Vinyl. It was pretty cool, and John, I think, from music. Anyway, the conversation went to how do you file your music collection.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing a video on how I file mine this week. And the comments I got, like, people are really inventive with the way they file. One guy files by, he's been doing it for like 50 years, he says. He files by when he bought the album.
Oh my word.
The first album he bought is
Wow.
first, and then up to today. That's kind of an inventive way of doing
So
it.
he's
It
catalog-
is, but it's like if I'm in the mood to listen to whatever, I mean, that would be
I don't know
a
how
good
he finds
short one.
anything, but
Yeah.
He's got to have some sort of system, some sort of like
yeah.
you know,
But
Dewey
I
Decimal
never
System.
would fathom of doing.
Wow.
No.
And then another guy, he did it by decades.
That makes
Or
sense.
year, yeah, decades, year, whatever. Like, it's just
I can
weird.
see that.
Yeah,
That would be tough. I would hate to go through my collection and look up the dates for everything
yeah,
or to reorganize. I mean, I'm like most people. I think I'm alphabetical, except for my jazz. My jazz is its own thing, and jazz and Christmas. Christmas I keep away for the year, but everything else is.
I actually
Maybe
kind of
celebrate
like.
my
I kind
jazz
of
this
like that.
week. That's it.
I like that year because I tend to think of music in time frames, right? Like,
Yeah.
think of 70s music or 80s music. I kind of like that idea.
Yeah,
I'm not
Yeah,
redoing mine, but I like the
inventive.
idea.
Yeah. Okay, I just want to get through some of these things here.
Are you guys actually going to show the record, or are we just talking about?
Yeah, I got
I've
mine
got a
up
stack.
to show.
Okay,
I
well,
got
I'm
show and
gonna-
tell. Saucer
I'm
full
going to
of
grab my
secrets.
6 while you guys are taking the last couple comments here. Hold on.
Okay, David, Saucer full of secrets is my second favorite. Is it my favorite? Metal's my favorite. Saucerful's my second favorite. The Who. Da-da. I won't get fooled again. I'm feeling older by the minute. Yeah, no kidding. 1973. $1 Billion Babies is that's on the list. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's on our list, but it's 50th anniversary. 73 is the last big class. It's getting close. There's still some Zeppelin and stuff to go.
Yeah, the Stones
Or-
had some pretty good mid
The
'70s,
Stones, yeah. I don't know. I think he could stretch it to 75, probably.
and then Tom Petty shows up in like '76.
Yeah.
So
But he really wasn't the first run of classic rock artists.
no, he's.
I bet
he's
you
not.
that album shows up. I'm just taking a wild guess.
I don't know who they are.
Greetings, gentlemen. I have a Grateful Dead question for Glenn.
No,
You can answer. I can answer right now. If I can answer. You're making a big assumption. My 1973 favorite album,
Judy
Judy
Still.
Still, Heart Food. I don't even know that album.
No.
See, it's always cool to do these things because then I got to get my pen and paper out and write that down. What kind of music is that?
She's kind of she's a singer-songwriter, isn't she? Yeah, she's kind of. I think Chris Propey likes her.
Wow, interesting. Not familiar.
She was one of those who died very young.
We have Led Zeppelin albums, yes.
Absolutely.
Curious
Can you
to
be
see
a
how many
record
of the
collector
same
and not have
albums
some
I have.
Zeppelin?
Cool. Yeah, I never got my Grateful Dead question, so we're going to move on to start our list here because I think we're all excited to kind of.
She might show up, yeah, but after the first break.
Yeah. Let me get to my banners here. Top albums turning
Oh.
50 in 2023.
There's your question. I
Da-da-da.
see it. She just put your question up.
Who went first last week?
Sam,
Yeah, I went first.
then you, then me.
Okay, well, you're going first then.
I'm going first. All right.
Or else.
Or else. All right. So my number 10, I don't physically own, but I do have it digitally. I think it's this man's magnus opus, Elton John's "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road."
Ooh.
I mean, a double album. It's got this obviously "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road" on it. Benny and the Jets, "Candle in the Wind," Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. I mean, fantastic. I'm not a huge Elton John fan. Like, I appreciate his genius and I like him. I don't own a ton of Elton John albums. I've got a few, but I mean, that one's just, aside from the hits, top to bottom, that's just a stellar album.
I could make an argument that the first two tracks, Funeral for a Friend and Love Lies Bleeding, are the best two opening tracks ever made. Just the punch
That's
of that
a valid
instrumental
argument. I would
leading
agree.
into that song is
Yep.
just epic.
Yeah.
And it's Elton's foray into prog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But oh my God, when you hear Funeral for a Friend with a big, almost like a church organ thing, and then all of a sudden it goes to that punchy Love Lies
And then
Bleeding.
Nigel on
Which is
those
great
drums.
rock.
Dum, dum.
Oh
Yeah,
man. Yeah, that's a pretty good choice.
it might show up again.
And it might not.
It might not. Yeah, keep the
So-
people. You know.
So who's going? Sam, you go second.
Well, somebody actually, I literally just made an edit to my list when I was thinking about something. I said, I got to make this real quick switch. So this is the result of that switch. Number 10.
Holland.
Yeah.
And
I figured that was going to be on your list.
yeah, this is actually, I don't own a standalone copy. This is actually from the Ceylon Sailor set that just came out at the end of last year. That remixed Holland and then had a bunch of new tracks. Holland's an interesting album. It's the second album with Blondie Chaplin and Ricky Fattar. Of course, Blondie would go on to tour with the Stones, and they were both in their own South African group called the Flames, the Fabulous Flames. The big hit was Ceylon Sailor as the opening track. Probably one of Brian's main pieces of work in the album. Brian was pretty absent at this point. He was really getting into his heavy drinking and drugs and depression when he was up in his bed. The band went off to Holland to record the album. It's got, like I said, Ceylon Sailor is a classic song. It's still, standard on rock radio. But one of my favorite moments of the album is at the end of side one, the California Saga series of songs, where you have three different tracks that encompass different parts of California. So you have the first track called Big Sur, which is a Mike Love tune. Then you have the second track called The Beaks of Eagles, which is kind of spoken word with Mike and Al Jardine. And then you have like the very poppy California Saga, which was written by Al Jardine, which when I saw Brian, they did California Saga live, which was great because originally Mike Love sang lead on it, but Al was singing lead at that concert, obviously because Mike wasn't there. But and then another mild hit that they had on the B side was "Funky Pretty," was another fun song. "The Traitor" is a really pretty song. Just a really really good mid-career Beach Boys record.
I've never heard it.
And I know
I know is Ceylon Sailor.
you should listen to the California Saga 3 tracks. And I don't know if Rob, when you saw Brian, did Al sing California Saga?
He did.
Big California. It's just that opening of I'm on my way to sunny California.
I'm gonna have to listen to that album.
Yeah, and the original album came with an EP as well called Mount Vernon and Fairway, which was like this weird fairy tale that it was like Brian's contribution, but it was so weird that they put it as its own EP. And actually their producer, Jack Riley, it's like a narration with Brian doing like these weird voices. It's like a 15-minute EP. It's really weird, but it's charming. It really is. But the actual album Holland's pretty rock. And I think, Glenn, if you were to listen to it, I think you would like it because it's got that edge with Blondie Chaplin and his lead guitars.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah, it's kind of got that Stones attitude about it.
Who did most of the writing on that if Brian was off doing weird shit?
Carl was really taking the lead because the album prior was Carl and the Passions. So
Right.
Carl had taken full control. And so him with Mike were doing a lot of the music. But even Dennis at this point was coming into his own with songs she had been doing since Sunflower back in 1970. So it's a really solid album for people that, again, dismiss the Beach Boys after Pet Sounds.
Wow, very cool. That's good. 2 good picks, guys. I'm going with one of my favorite guitar players of all time, Johnny Winter. Still alive and well.
Yep.
This is a great album. I mean, there's some blues on it, but a lot of rock on it too. And Johnny can rock out real good. He does a great cover of 2 Stones songs on here, Let It Bleed and Silver Train. The song's Still Alive and Well is just a great cover song. Kind kind of an old blues song that I've heard other bands do, a rock and blues song called All Tore Down. Rock Me Baby, which is kind of a standard blues tune. Great album. If you're looking for a rockin' album, Johnny Winter.
Interesting.
Still alive and well.
Yeah, he's touring with Ringo.
Let me get caught up on some I'm a big Elton fan. Ryan. Elton's best is Tumbleweed Connection. That's my favorite, but it didn't come out in 73.
Mm-mm.
Don't Go Breaking My Heart. I won't.
Wouldn't if I tried.
Yeah.
Did you see Glenn? Did you see Jazzy's question about the Grateful Dead?
Not yet. I think did I miss it?
Yeah, it was at the top. Yeah.
Yes, I do own the Barton Hall show on CD. Yes. But don't ask me what's on it or anything, because I got like 4 million live Dead things.
Including that new one for Christmas.
Yes. Don't they do a song on Holland called Don't Go Near the Water?
Yes.
Odd for the Beach Boys. Is that an odd track?
Kind of. Again, it's kind of like a that wasn't on Holland, but it was like their song about pollution. It was them trying to be political and saving the water in the ocean.
The Beach Boys do Marvin Gaye? Is that
right? Yeah, they did Sexual Healing.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Wasn't Phil McCracken's debut released in 73? I think that was 74. It would have been on the list if it was 73. I can't come up yet, Glenn. I have a list. Maybe I can go on after you from the peanut gallery. Well, just, flip us a thing if you want to come on.
Only if you're walking, John.
Yeah.
I've been on too many chats with John lately, and he hasn't been walking. I'm starting to worry about his
exercise.
Yeah, he's got to stretch at least. He should be on the ground on the floor doing push-ups or something.
After all that Chipotle last night.
Yeah. Mike, yeah, and stay away from Chipotle. That's not going to help you if you're not walking.
Stay close to a bathroom. Yeah.
Mike Love is the uncoolest Beach Boy. I think most people dislike Mike Love.
He was talented. He is talented, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't sing for shit anymore.
Bob F is mentioning some pretty damn good albums there.
Yeah, like I said, Bob, Ryman Simon probably would have made my list if I've listened to it.
Brian is absolutely the heart and soul of the Beach Boys.
He is the Beach Boys.
My number 10, $1 Billion Babies, Alice Cooper. See, John's even going like this. Alice Cooper. That's pretty good Alice Cooper album. Greetings. Thanks for joining us. Yes, R.I.P. Jeff Beck. Absolutely. Cool, because I live within walking distance of the Barton Hall building, and we even still sell old school T-shirts promoting the show from them. That's pretty cool.
Very cool.
That'd be a neat T-shirt to have. Okay, we're on to number 9. Number 9
for me is Aerosmith's self-titled debut.
Wow, Glenn.
I like the album. So, I mean, Dream On is on here, obviously, and Mama Kin are the two that, people that may not know the album would be familiar with. It's an interesting record. I mean, it was the first time that Aerosmith was in the studio. They, other than Steven, none of them had ever been in the studio before. And they, I've read they were nervous as hell and they weren't happy with, some of the production but they didn't, Steven didn't feel he had the experience to voice his opinion with regards to production. And all of that said, I still think the album turned out pretty damn good. I mean, Dream On, while it is overplayed, is still an absolutely incredible song.
Yep.
And I also love it because this album started their career of, love them or hate them, one of the most successful rock bands in America. So I like it because I like the album. I like it because there's some great songs on it, and I like it for its historical place in the development of popular music.
I'm good with that.
Very cool.
See how polite I'm being?
Which means you hate Aerosmith, don't you?
Can't stand them. Nails on a blackboard. I think Steven Tyler is one of the most annoying human beings that ever lived. There, I'd see. I know you made me not be nice.
It's all right. As my dad used to say, opinions are like buttholes.
I know, but
Everyone has one.
I don't like slamming artists. Okay, so who's next? Sam?
That'd
Sam.
be me. I think Glenn will be very pleased with this, and our buddy Rich, if he's watching from The Quiet Wings, and Randy. That's definitely Randy.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go with "Hard Nosed the Highway" by Van Morrison.
Yep.
I just recently picked this up. I heard the album obviously, but I'd never seen a copy in my neck of the woods, and I found one. The big hit on here was "Warm Love," which is one of his best, love songs, one of his best ballads. Van singing that, falsetto that he kind of did for "Crazy Love," almost like a part 2 to "Crazy Love." But the title track itself is very good. "Hard Nosed the Highway." "Show and San Anselmo" is great. The opening track. But probably one of my favorites on here is the opening of side 2, where he does the cover of the song "Green" that Kermit the Frog sang.
Yeah. That's I knew it from Sesame Street.
And it is just unbelievably good. I mean, it is really good. And Van related to the song because he's always been kind of a curmudgeon and done his own thing.
Yeah.
And then he also does the traditional song "Purple Heather," which of course "Will You Go, Lassie Go." It's called a million different things.
Beautiful Irish.
He does his version of it. Really cool artwork too. If we're just gonna talk about the album for a second, it's very odd. Kind of reminds me of The Good Earth meets a weird space novel. I don't know. It's really weird, but it's a really good album. And I just talked. I think it might have been with you, Glenn, that this is kind of the bridge of Van going into his spiritual side, going toward the 70s, versus his kind of stream of consciousness, St. Dominic's Preview, Astral Weeks phase. It's kind of a good mix of both, and it's just really well put together. Again, it's only 8 songs,
Good
but
album.
it's some great epics on here, and I recommend this to anybody if you can listen to it on streaming or find one.
I'm a big fan of the opening track too. "Snow from San Anselmo."
Yeah.
Great song. Very cool. I'm going. You guys aren't going to like this. I don't care. Frank Zappa's "Overnight Sensation." It's probably his biggest selling album.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It was kind of the first album that was as mainstream as Zappa gets. And it's got Montana on it in one of his classic songs that I think everybody knows. So a lot of stuff he does live, a lot on the Slime, Camarillo Brillo, but it's an excellent album. There's just his guitar playing on this album is outstanding. Like I said, I believe this is his top selling album. It's either this or Apostrophe, which followed it. They're both that was kind of his peak period, I think, of popularity.
Yep.
Those 2 albums. So that's my number 9. Let me see what's coming up here. Rich is playing along.
There's Rich.
There he is.
Hey, buddy. Bruce Springsteen. Greetings from Asbury Park. Great.
I've never
choice.
listened to that album, Rich. I know it came out.
Really? You've never heard that?
No, never. I know. Some of the tracks, obviously, but never the whole album.
Rob got a haircut.
No, I didn't. I don't have any
see.
hair.
Yeah.
Never have.
Yeah. Last week he had an afro.
Yeah.
Music. John's still playing along here. Greetings from Asbury Park. We got 2. That's the first album that's shown up twice.
One ahead of Rich.
I'm not a Flo and Eddie guy, although their albums without Zappa are just straight ahead pop albums, so I don't mind it. I did hear that album. It's actually not too bad. Larry Graves is a big fan. This album might make an appearance later.
At one point, it was my number 10.
Yeah.
I actually listened to it at work today.
Yeah, it's my favorite Jackson Browne album. So the first Mothers album I bought was a Blind Buy Freak Out. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I was pretty early on Freak Out because I had a friend who was into it right at the start. So brilliant album. Okay, we're into number 8. The man with the new haircut.
The man with the new haircut. So my number 8, I don't own physically, but I have a digital copy. And everyone's going to laugh, I think. But I got to go with Elvis, Aloha from Hawaii.
Cool.
Because it's a fantastic. I mean, I'm a huge Elvis fan. I don't talk about him a lot, but I'm a huge Elvis fan. And, I got into him even before I got into the Beatles when I was like 12. And
Wow.
I always liked young Elvis, and I thought old Elvis in the diamond-studded jumpsuits was just absurd. And now in my old age, I look at it and go, man, he was cooler than shit. Like, just, he was so cool that he could pull off that absurdity and it still be great. And Aloha from Hawaii was, 4 years before his death. So he was still reasonably healthy. And
Yeah, he looked good.
yeah, his voice sounded great, and he did some great songs in there, like Hunka Hunka Burnin' Love, and I think that is, as I call it, diamond studded Elvis. I think that's diamond studded Elvis at his peak, and I think it's awesome. I think it's on vinyl. I got to find a copy somewhere.
Glenn, did you
cool.
tune into that when it went live?
No, I don't remember doing that. I was not a huge Elvis fan back then.
Yeah.
I love this 50s Elvis, and a couple of songs. I mean, I used to go to the movies and go see the films in the 60s. I had an older cousin who used to drag me to those. And yeah, so I mean, I appreciate Elvis, but I just never got into the later stuff.
Love that version of American Trilogy too.
Yes.
Aloha. Yep.
Yep.
His voice is just
really good.
powerful.
Yep.
Wow, very cool. Elvis makes the list.
Number 8. Well, the only person that is just under Elvis for cool is Ringo Starr. Right?
Mr.
So I'm going to
Conductor.
go with the Ringo self-titled. Not his first album by any means, but I know
I had a hard
favorite.
time leaving that off my list
Um,
because I think it's a great album.
I mean, this is the only album with all 4 Beatles post breakup, and so it's
the
it's the one
closest we ever came to a reunion other than the anthology.
Yeah, it's the one and only with all of the members contributing. I just listened to this the other day too, and I was reminded how good it was, and that's probably why it made the list.
Not to
Every
mention,
song. It's an album you can play back to front. And
I mean,
not to mention who else played on that album. Every member of the band except for Richard Manuel was
Yeah.
on that album.
the band is on
Russ
here.
Foreman, Harry Nilsson,
Billy Preston,
Billy Preston. Yeah.
Nicky Hopkins is on here.
Yep.
Members of Wings. I mean, Denny Lane is on here with
Yep.
Linda and Paul. Steve Cropper.
wow,
But I mean, just some of the songs. Jim Keltner.
Heavyweights.
I'm the Greatest. The John Lennon
Which
song.
is funny that Ringo would need to bring in a drummer.
yeah.
Right. Obviously, you have Photograph was the big hit. He does You're 16.
I love your
Probably my favorite song on the album. It was Sunshine Life for Me, which is the one with the band and George Harrison.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Just it's so great. 6 O'Clock is the McCartney song. Oh My is great. Just a solid album. Again, a lot of people considered it his best. Obviously, the cover alludes to Sgt. Pepper quite a bit with all the people up here that contributed to the album and then some. Just a wonderful album. Ringo sings really well. Again, it's hard to believe that some of these solo Beatles albums are at that 50-year mark this year. Just so many of them, and it's cool that we still have Ringo, hanging out and doing these songs still. But yeah, I had to put Mr. Starkey on the list.
That might make an appearance later on.
Very cool. That's a great pick. I really had a hard time leaving it off. It didn't make my list, but it certainly got serious consideration. But albums like this knocked it off. It's not. I'm thinking back. I'm going, okay, the albums I loved in 1973 are not necessarily the albums that came out in 73 that I'm passionate about now and I play all the time. So some of them like Ringo got pushed aside by an album like Tom Waits' Closing Time.
I figured that would make an appearance on your list.
Oh my God, what a great freaking album this is. This is an album for people who don't like Tom Waits, I think.
Yep.
Vocally, it's not that gruff Beefheart type vocal. It's It's singer-songwriter-ish.
Yeah.
And really, really accessible album if anybody wants to get into Tom Waits and doesn't think they like his voice, because the songs are great. Old 55s on this. Rob, being a
The Eagles covered
Eagles fan, will know that cover.
that. And he hated that the Eagles did it until he got the
Yeah,
royalty check.
he did. He wasn't a fan until he started getting the money. The
Yep.
check started rolling in, and it was fine. Yeah, and I can't blame him for that. But yeah, Tom Waits, Closing Time. That's number 8 or
That
7?
was 8. It was number 8.
Okay, let me see what's going on here. John, Tres Hombres, ZZ Top, man.
That
Hard to leave
just
ZZ
missed my
Top
list.
off.
Just missed my list.
Yeah, that's a great album. I still think I have that. Yeah, early Elvis. Dark Side turns 50 yet. Dark Side's on there. I'm sure someone's going to have it on their list.
Yeah,
I bumped it.
there's little albums like Dark Side need to have recognition.
Yeah, Mark Bolan plays on Ringo too.
What does he play on Ringo? Solitaire.
The people with a wrench have a channel. I'm not sure. No one. I haven't given anybody a wrench. I look after it myself. I just block people. So
Yeah,
don't make me block you.
he will do it.
Not you, Shadow Man. I mean, anybody who wants to come on and screw with us. Quadrophenia. It might get mentioned later. I hate to give stuff away. Rich, Piano Man, Billy Joel. Good choice. There goes Ryman Simon. That's twice for that one now.
Yeah.
Soundlab Studios, Dark Side, Band on the Run, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Doobie Brothers,
there it
Captain and Me. Another good album. Wow, very cool. So now we're at number 7.
Number 7. Number 7 is another album I love that I own digitally. I don't have it on vinyl. By my guitar hero, Joe Walsh. It's The Smoker You Drink, The Player You Get.
That was on my list.
That is a fantastic.
And I knocked it
friggin'
down
record.
a couple of notches, and then it ended up at number 10, and then it missed the cut.
That's all.
It's
I
a
know you,
great
I need to
freaking
listen
album.
to it.
I had to include it because
Oh,
Joe Walsh is my guitar hero. So I'm like,
I figured you would have it on.
yep, I love it. Most people don't know that it wasn't it's not actually a Joe Walsh solo record. It was his band.
Barnstorm.
It's Barnstorm.
Yeah.
And I don't know the reason why it was just credited to Joe Walsh. And I guess it pissed the one guy, because there's 3 of them, and it pissed the one guy off, and he left.
Money. It's probably got something to do with money.
Probably. And then the other guy that was part of Barnstorm, Joe Vitale, became Joe Walsh's songwriting partner and was and I believe still is in the Eagles backing band and has been for 30 years. So it's great. A great album. It's Joe Walsh being crazy as Joe Walsh does.
But there's some beautiful melodic, gorgeous passages on that album. Like Meadows is great, but Wolf and songs like that are, oh man, it's a beautiful album.
I wouldn't even care if Joe Walsh ever sang anything because he doesn't really have a great voice, but I just love to listen to him play guitar. It's like you just know it's him. So Rocky Mountain Way is the song off that everyone would know. But Joe Walsh.
And he's a great acoustic guitar player too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't get a lot of recognition for that because
tasteful.
everyone just thinks of him as an electric player. But
Absolutely.
He plays a nice slide for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Number 7. This might show up later for you gentlemen, but for me, it's at this point because everything else above it is, I prefer it.
Houses of the Holy.
Houses of the Holy. One of my favorite Zeppelin albums. I know a lot of people put, Physical Graffiti as one of their favorites. I've always preferred Houses of the Holy. I don't know. I guess I like the airiness about it. I mean, songs like, Jamaica and The Ocean just make it seem a little bit more summery. Not as heavy as some of their other things. The song remains the same, obviously, is a big song. The Rain song is on this album. Over the Hills and Far Away, fantastic song.
Mm-hmm.
The Crunge, I mean, it's killer. And some of these songs, were like obviously the title track, Houses of the Holy, didn't make it on this album. and which is funny
Yeah.
that
It is funny. Yeah, it's on Physical Graffiti.
it's on Physical Graffiti, which is crazy because that's such a large album that
Mhm.
why not put it on here? But Dancing Days is on here again. No Quarter is on here. It's just a fantastic, mid-career Zeppelin album, and kind of a nice break from the Zeppelin 1, 2, 3, 4 series, if you will. But I think Bonham's playing is incredible on this album. And Jimmy Page is always at the top of his game until he got to Presence in that area, and then you don't want to go there about what he was doing at that point. But yeah, Houses of the Holy. Again, I always it's not one that I listen to a lot. If I'm gonna pull a Zeppelin album, I'm usually gonna pull one or two. But when I pull out Houses of the Holy, I'm always like, that's a really solid album. So
It is.
how to put it on my list.
That's a great choice. I have no argument with Zeppelin being on the list at all. Okay, I'm going with one that no one else is going to have. But if anybody watches my channel regularly, I had two obsessions this year. One was David Bowie, and the other one was Caravan.
Mm-hmm.
Discovered this band Caravan, who put out their first album in 1969. I had never heard of them. I can't understand how this band slipped through my fingers, but they've become one of my top 10 bands of all time. And the album they released in 73 is called For Girls Who Go Plump in the Night. And weird title, but what a great frickin' album. Just great playing and great guitar work. It's proggy, but it's called the Canterbury Sound, where it's a little softer. It doesn't go crazy like a Crimson or Yes. It's pretty melodic, and vocals are, more softer, and they're just a great band, and this is an awesome album. So that's my number 7.
Very cool.
Now, if you would have asked me that last year and to pick the ones from 73, that wouldn't have made my list. I wouldn't have heard of it. So let's see. There's some Captain and Me. Gary, Robin Trower. Robin Trower's great from Procol Harum. Yeah, what a great guitar player. Skinner's first album, Pronounced. Very cool pick.
Leonard Skinner is a group that I just avoid because of where I come from. Because
I wonder why.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
John Cale, Paris 1919. I've never heard a John Cale album.
Yeah.
You guys?
Yeah. Neither have I.
Music Talk with John. John's going number 7, Goat's Head Soup. Great pick. Good Stones album. Solid album. I know Rob's not going to have it on his list.
I will not.
Rich, For Every Man.
Yeah, it almost made my it did until about an hour before the stream, Rich.
Anyone who loves Barnstorm and Joe Walsh is okay with me. One of my favorite albums of all time is the Barnstorm album. Just brilliant. Yahoo. Stevie Wonder. Yeah, Inner Visions. That's a great album. I have no problem with that pick.
Yeah. That's when Stevie was at the top of his powers.
Tower of Power is a band I really don't listen to that much. I don't know if they just had a self-titled album out there that year, Bob, or whatever. I have a friend who's just like, that's his favorite band. Wow. Cool. We're up to number 6.
Number 6 is the last one that I don't own physically, but I do have digitally. And it just got mentioned in the comments. Leonard Skinner. Pronounced Leonard Skinner. Wow. I mean, it's a
great album.
I know Sam loves it, but I love that Southern rock thing, right? And it's Simple Man, Give Me 3 Steps, Freebird. Yes, I know Freebird, and one of the most. There's always some drunk idiot going, "Play Freebird." Right?
Yeah. I always do that.
Song, it wouldn't have got to that point. So it's interesting. I read when I was just reading some background stuff on some of these, and I didn't know this, but their producer on that album would not let them include Simple Man.
Al Cooper.
Right. He wouldn't let them include it. So Ronnie took him outside to his car and he said, "You stay out here till we come back." They went back in and recorded it without him. And then when they brought him back and they said, "You're putting it on the album."
Yeah. So I think that was the end of Al Cooper's association with them after they didn't listen to him. I think he walked away.
I think so.
Yeah. That's very cool.
I want to say, I think they just celebrated Ronnie Van Zant's 75th the other day.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy.
If you recall, he was one of the people I'd bring back from the dead to come over to my house for dinner.
Yeah.
Right. That'd be cool. Number 6. Is that what we're on?
Yep.
5, 6, 7.
6.
This is the one that I don't have physically, and I thought I did, but I don't. One of 2 Elton John albums released in 1973. I'm going to go with the early one from January of 1973. Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player.
More Elton. Perfect.
Fantastic. It opens with Daniel, one of the most beautiful songs that Elton recorded. Obviously, I got to see Elton earlier in the fall, and he played Daniel. One of my favorite deep cuts, Elderberry Wine, is on this album as well. Really fun, funky kind of song. And then just the burner of a song on side 2, Have Mercy on the Criminal, with that killer electric guitar, that with Davy Johnstone playing that. And that was a highlight seeing Elton live. They had these really cool light displays, like these visuals on the screen. Like it was almost like they turned the stage black and white, but with a bunch of red lights. Like it was a criminal, running from the law, going along with the lyrics. Another good one on the album, I'm Gonna Be a Teenage Idol. It's another deep cut that's really, really good. It's got Crocodile Rock on it, to its dismay. Elton John's song that he said he will not miss in retirement. But
I won't miss it either.
No, I won't miss it either. But my favorite song on the album is Texan Love Song, which is Elton kind of doing a parody of country songs, but also, bashing on the hippies kind of thing, like as if he were living in Texas, looking out of the long hairs. He sings, you long hairs are sure going to die. It's Elton doing country, which is something that Elton actually liked to do. I mean, listen to an album like Tumbleweed Connection, or even some of Honky Chateau, some of Madman. He loved the folk and the country. He loved Bob Dylan. He loved the band. So it's just neat to hear those influences come in. And again, around this time, he was also doing like Skyline Pigeon, was also written around this time. It didn't make it on the album, but it's just a really fruitful time for Elton. And obviously, Rob mentioned earlier, the album that was to come later in the year. So it's incredible that he essentially released 3 albums worth of material in 1 year. That's just unreal. And not an album of crap. Don't Shoot Me is a classic album.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, I had to put it on there, and I love Sir Elton. So Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player.
Wow, that's awesome. Good pick. You guys are knocking it out of the park here. My number 6. I got to get the Grateful Dead in there. One of my favorite Grateful Dead albums, Wake of the Flood. American Beauty and Working Man's Dead are kind of considered their 2 best studio albums, I think, for most people. And but this is a very close third for me. It's got a lot of staples on here from Grateful Dead concerts. Mississippi Half Step, Uptown Toodaloo's on here. Road Jimmy, Stella Blue, all songs that they played a lot live. Here Comes Sunshine, Eyes of the World, one of my top 3 Grateful Dead songs. And another one of my top Grateful Dead songs, The Weather Report Suite, the great Bob Weir song. So this is a really, really good album. Like that, Grateful Dead aren't known for great studio albums, but this one is really good, really accessible, just great music.
So that came out the same year as Ace? They did that at the same time?
No, Ace came out in 72.
Oh, so because the 50th was just released, so
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let me get caught up here. Michael, first of all, Michael, thank you for the kind words on your 200 Greatest Singer video. Man, I was blown away. Thank you.
Did you make the list?
I made the list of the 200 greatest singers. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Cosmic Torpedoes. We were right up there.
Congrats.
I was number 2 and you were number 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, the presence of greatness here.
Yeah. Barnstorm. I don't know what Hot H. I'm not sure what he's referring to there.
Houses of the Holy.
Houses of the Holy.
Houses of the Holy. Oh, sorry. My acronyms are. I'm weak on the acronyms.
And Michael,
Barnstormer.
I finally subscribed to your channel. I don't know why I wasn't subscribed.
Yeah. What's up, Gary? What's up, Gary? Gary, what's up? Hey, Rob, have you heard of the Outlaws?
I have. They were like another southern rock band from, I think, Florida, and they were sort of proteges of Skinner, if I'm not mistaken.
Great band. High Tide and Green Grass, their big long, that's kind of their Freebird.
Yeah.
Great tune. I saw the Outlaws open for the Stones in Buffalo.
Oh, really?
In like 1975, 76. They had an all-day festival at the football stadium. The Stones were the headliners, and they had, I forget who was there. The Outlaws. I forget. It was real weird shit. And they had all these weird acts in between the bands to set up the stage and everything. They would have these weird, like, freak acts. Like one guy was the human bomb. And he goes on stage and he puts himself in a wooden crate and he blows himself up. And then the whole crate just goes crazy, and it's just like you hear this big explosion. Then he kind of, gets up and he's like 3/4 dead, but he stands up and survives it. Just stupid stuff like that. It was like a freak show combined with the Stones. It was nuts.
So how many times did you see the Stones? 'Cause I know you saw them with Stevie.
I saw him probably at least a half a dozen times up to this.
Wow.
But I saw them once, what I would call current, in 1999. That's the last time I saw them. But other than that, it was all 70s.
That's awesome.
Sabbath, yeah. Great, just an amazing band. Intervisions, John. He's throwing Stevie Wonder in there too. Hi, guys. Hello. Rich has got Leonard Skinner in there too.
Great minds think alike.
Yo, John, just checking in before bed. It's Gary's bedtime. Randy, great pick. I had a hard time leaving that album off. I freaking love Ooh La La. What a great record that is.
So this is really funny. Y'all will appreciate this, I think. So at work, 'cause I work in retail. I won't go into what I do just for privacy, but we had an event where
I'm not going to say Victoria's Secrets out loud.
Shh. No,
It's a secret.
It's a secret. I hold the key. Me and Chuck Norris. No, that we needed a playlist made for an event that we were running, and they needed like mellow kind of music. So of course they go to this guy, and so they said that they're like, this was back before Thanksgiving in the States, and it was like, we just need the mellow stuff. Little did I know that this is the same playlist that they're still playing, and I haven't, like, where I work, I don't go into any of the other locations. I go in my own office. So like I was at one of the other locations today, and I walked in and I was like, that's a really good song. And then I was listening. I was like, that's a really good song. I was like, there's some deep cuts that are being played. And I was like,
Whoever
wait a
made
minute.
this playlist is
I was like,
really
wait a minute.
good.
This is my playlist.
Sounds real.
One of the songs was Ooh La La. So
Great song.
it's a great song.
That's a really good album if you haven't heard it. The whole album's good. Great pick, Randy. Blues for Baby and Me is beautiful. Who is that, John? Do you guys know that?
Blues for Baby and Me. No.
It's got me stumped. And another howdy. Hey, Rich. Hey, Gary. Hey, Randall.
Hey, Randall.
And an exclamation mark.
Blues for Baby and Me is Elton John.
Oh,
that's right.
He's
Yeah.
correcting
Yeah.
his question.
I wasn't
with
there.
an exclamation mark.
Sorry.
And Rich I'm glad we can play social convener here. Hi, Rich. Rich says hi. It's me, Basil, by the way.
Yep.
Hey, Basil. Way. Hi, TRC, the record collector. That's Basil. Hi. Basil says hi. Randy says hi, Basil. Elton John says hello to Basil.
I was waiting for Dave Grohl to
He's
say
doing
hi.
great.
Yeah, I've got actually number one is an early 1973 Foo Fighters demo.
That's
Dave
what I
Grohl
wondered
did.
if we'd see Dave
Yeah,
Grohl.
yeah, he was very young.
Hi, Randy. Basil says hello
Everybody
and
says
asks you
hi
how
to
you
everybody.
are.
That's wonderful.
I don't think we should just do a 2-hour people,
We'll just read everyone saying
Yeah.
hi.
We'll just let everybody talk to each other. I choose Don't Shoot Me. I've Yellow
Oh,
Brick too. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. They've both shown up. Great songs. Over. The Birds reunion album.
yeah, I had that in my overall list, but I've only heard that album once or twice.
Yeah,
So.
I got that album used for like about $8 a couple of months ago, and I'd never really paid much attention to it before. I only listened to it a couple of times, and it didn't really grab me as like a great Birds album.
No, it's not great, but it's good. It's
Yeah,
not,
it's
it's
I mean, it's the
country rock.
Birds.
Yeah,
It's not going to suck, that's for sure. Elton played near me, but I didn't get to go. I've never gone either, and I kind of regret never going to see him.
yeah, I've seen him twice, Basil.
My pleasure, brother. Yeah, Greengrass and High Tides and Riders on the Storm. Yeah, they were a good band, the Outlaws. Hey, Glenn and Sam, how you doing? We're doing good. Rob's not doing so well.
Apparently, I'm chopped liver.
Yeah.
No,
Not doing
Yeah,
so
Rob.
good anymore.
How is everyone? Well,
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Basil's fine. Randy's okay.
and these comments are
Brother
rolling.
Royce. Hi, Michael. Hi, Royce.
We
Okay.
can just do the highs all
Enough.
night and finish our lists.
It keeps
I've had
going,
enough of
going,
that.
going.
Blues for Baby Me is Elton.
Yeah, I realized that after the fact.
Yo, record collector. I'm going to let you guys let's see if we get anything.
You let the pleasantries.
Gary, Band on the Run. That might make another appearance. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, again, we're giving the lesser known albums a shot, like Dark Side and
Hey,
Don't Shoot Me.
how did Nolan get a wrench? I have no freaking idea how he got a wrench. Our first chat, Rachel was on with us, and she was teaching me how to give wrenches out. And I gave a couple of wrenches out, and that's if he still has a wrench from then, because I have no idea how I did it, then he's got a wrench. That wrench is worth a lot of money, Michael.
It's like an NFT.
It's a collector's item. You guys make me laugh so hard, Glenn and Sam. Yeah,
And again,
Rob's
what
not
the
so
hell?
funny.
My chopped
yeah.
liver.
Rob's not funny.
Rob brings him to tears.
Good
He's
God.
a serious guy. He's a straight man.
Apparently, I don't need to be on this show anymore.
He's Zeppo, and we're Chico and Harpo.
Yeah, he's
Good
the
Lord.
yeah. They booted Zeppo after like the first 5 movies.
Yeah, Band on the Run is number 5 with John. Aladdin Sane. Damn, I'm going to give it away. It didn't make my list, but damn, I had a hard time leaving it off.
Wow, I was really I thought for sure that'd be on your list.
Sorry, Rob, I didn't know your name. LOL.
Sorry, I didn't know yours either. So we're
Yeah,
good.
there we go. Basil, this is Rob. Rob, this is Basil.
Nice to meet you, Basil.
Okay, that's enough.
Now I'm feeling.
Oh,
nervous.
here you go. Here we go. Let's make it feel, buddy. I think you're funny as well.
Some would say I'm funny looking. So
I come unarmed. Oh, no wrench. I'm stream worthy, but I'm not wrench worthy. Hurtful. John, if I knew how to hand out a wrench, I'd give you 6 of them.
But is he sponge worthy?
You can.
if it makes you
can-
feel better, John, I'm on here and don't have a wrench. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, that's why. Yeah.
I don't need one.
If I can figure out how to give people wrenches, I'll give them.
Like Oprah.
Sam is Keith Urban's doppelganger.
Bob
No.
says that, and I don't see it.
I don't
Hair.
see it either. You don't look like Keith Urban at all.
I'm
The
glad.
hair.
You look more like Nicole Kidman than Keith Urban.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I sound Australian.
Okay, number 5.
Wow. Yeah, we're still doing a
I got to
list.
get my
Not
list
comedy.
here. Forget where the hell I am.
I put
Comedy
hello-
routine's
hello to
over.
everybody.
Who's on first?
All right, number 5 may have made an appearance already.
Ringo.
Ringo.
Peace and
Ringo.
love. Peace and love.
So, I mean, I don't have anything more to add than what we already said. It's obviously I'm a huge Beatles fan, and it's as close as we had to a Beatles reunion until the anthologies. And so, for that fact alone, it had to be on my list, but it's also enjoyable. I mean, there's the cast of characters that are on here are great. The songs are fantastic, and all the other things we already said.
Well, these are the albums where I start getting a little bit more passionate because these are albums that I go to a lot. And number 5, I wore this in his honor.
Well, I know what we're doing.
Yeah.
You're getting Sweet Revenge.
Sweet Revenge. I mean, why? First of all, that's the coolest John ever looked.
Yeah.
Like a, in that car. And then rocking it from the other side on the back, wearing his all denim, the cigarette and the glasses. Like he slept in that car the night before.
Yeah.
This is John kind of moving a little bit different direction. Obviously, the title track, Sweet Revenge, is fantastic. Just great lyrics. Please Don't Bury Me, which is one that the Cosmic Torpedoes have done in our repertoire. Great song about, please don't bury me in the cold, cold ground. I'd rather have them cut me up and pass me all around. One of my favorite songs, Christmas in Prison. Great song.
Great song.
Dear Abby, which is a live song. It was only recorded live, where he's singing from the perspective of Dear Abby from the newspaper. Let's see. Grandpa Was a Carpenter is a big one. Mexican Home, which actually the version I prefer is a live version that he did with Jason Ritter. They slow it way down.
The live version that he started to do the song slower after. I bet you he regrets doing it the way they did it on that album.
Because on the album it's like bomb, 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 bomb.
Yeah,
it's
totally
hard.
different song. It's so much better as a slow, dirgy ballad almost. It's great.
And then he ends with the old bluegrass standard 9-pound hammer. And then there are a couple other songs that I skipped over, but
great record.
An all-around great John Prine album. It's got your funny in it. It's got your heartfelt. Just it's a classic John Prine album. So I highly recommend it. Sweet Revenge.
I have a friend of mine that has played with John Prine a couple dozen times.
No way.
Yeah, she's a fiddle player, and
what's her name?
Kendall Carson.
Yeah, wow.
She's you remember Great Big Sea from back in the So Alan Doyle, the lead singer of Great Big Sea, she's in his band and has been for about 10 years.
Oh wow.
And she's done. There's a bunch of videos of her playing with John Prine on YouTube.
Wow.
I was working for a Mariposa Folk Festival when Great Big Sea was just trying to make it, and they came up and played the festival, and I spent a ton of time with those guys. They were I was kind of they were scheduled. The record company was sending them to a lot of radio interviews and stuff like that while they were in the festival, and I took them to all their radio interviews.
Oh, nice.
They needed to go, and they started calling me Glenn By, the new accent, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Glenn By, where are we going now? And all this. They were great.
Alan is, even to this day, still the nicest guy.
Yeah, they're awesome. Great band too. Is Great Big Sea? Did they make it in the States, Sam? You know them?
Not that I know of. No, they're not a name that
You'd love Great Big Sea. Great band. Acoustic. How do you describe them?
It's Newfoundland folk music.
That's it's folk music, and it really, really awesome band. They're a lot of fun. And
my buddy Brian from Shamrock and Records, he's down in.
Oh yeah, I love Brian.
He's a huge Great Big Sea fan.
Yeah, Brian and I we converse a lot about Avett Brothers.
Yep.
Yeah. You'd be a fan of Great Big Sea.
Okay.
Okay, who's that was your Prine, so I'm next.
You're next.
I'm going with the Who. I know somebody in the audience commented and made this.
Who?
My favorite Who album came out in 1973. Quadrophenia.
Who?
Absolutely brilliant record. In my opinion, John Entwistle's masterpiece in terms of his playing. Like that bass is just all over this album. Like that's the first thing that stands out to me. I'm just going, oh my God, that's incredible. Just love this album. Great concept album. Rocks. It's just got so many great songs on it. The whole band just plays fantastic. It's one of Pete Townshend's masterpieces as a songwriter. And Quadrophenia. One of my favorite albums.
Love Rain Over Me. I mean,
what a song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now I got to See who wants to say hello. Yeah, somebody loves me some John Prine.
sir.
Yeah, who doesn't?
If you don't,
We
you
are
don't know
big
what you
John
don't.
Prine fans. Band on the Run. It's good choice, Rich. Mott the Hoople. Good
Randy.
pick, Randall.
Yeah,
Randy's
that is a
picking
good
some
one.
good ones. That's a great album. Cardboard Head Guy. Are you sub to Nick? Well, we're not sure. Feeling the Space turned 50 in November. A great album and widely misunderstood. If Mazzy or Larry Graves were on here right now, they would 100% agree with you.
Or Joe Mayo.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gary. Some quiet Prime fans.
Prime is a great choice. It was. Sweet Revenge is a great pick and would be somewhere on my list. Absolutely. Countdown to Ecstasy, Steely Dan. Yeah, that's a great choice. I didn't even notice that on the list. I might have picked that one. My favorite album, turning 40. Well, you're 10 years from now. Come back.
Yeah.
Watch this back in 10 years and leave a comment in the comments.
We'll still be saying hi.
Who is that band? Great Big Sea? Is that who you were?
Maybe.
No, I think he was making fun of The Who. As
The Who.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, Bellboy.
Bellboy's great. The whole album's great. Grand Hotel, almost mad. I love Procol Harum. Always nipping at someone's eel. That's it. We're caught up.
Nitty gritty here, boys.
What are we on here? Number 4?
4.
Number 4 was just mentioned a few moments ago, and it sort of continues on from my previous selection. Wings, Band on the Run. I mean, it's Paul. It's Paul's solo output or post Beatles output for me is kind of hit and miss. He's got some real clunkers and he's got some really good ones. And for me,
those ones in them from 70 to 75 are all pretty freaking good.
Yeah. And there's some real garbage in the 80s. Just
there's a couple.
There's some stinkers.
He blew, but man.
But I mean, for my money, this album start to finish, I don't know that there's a bad one on there.
No, it's not a bad note on that album, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, if I had to pick a favorite song, oh man, Let Me Roll It.
Yeah, Let Me Roll It's great.
Jack, Helen Wheel. I mean, everything on here.
Everything's good.
Everyone knows this
the end
album
of it with 1999 and the Picasso thing. The whole thing, the way it blends in together. It's just it's so well done. That album is great.
It's funny that that both Ringo and Paul have what are considered to be some of their best post Beatles work in the same year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And John had Mind Games in 73, which is not, I like Mind Games, but it's not my favorite Lennon album and not like of the same level as Band on the Run or the Ringo album, as far as I'm concerned.
No.
They both deserve top 10 status. And I'm not sure Mind Games does.
Well, stay tuned. I might have something to say about that.
Okay. We can keep the conversation going because it's my number 5 as well. Well, number 4. And again, this is another one of those that Rich and I did. Actually, this was the first episode of our series, I believe. We did it with Larry, and my least favorite on here is Bluebird.
Oh, really? I like that song.
Yeah, I mean, again, I like them all, but I mean, you have Bluebird against Band on the Run, Jet, Vanderbilt, Let Me Roll It. I even love Picasso's Last Word.
Me too. I think it's a great song.
And then I love how with the 1985 at the end, and then it goes back to Band on the Run.
I know.
It's very Beatley the way that they did that. It's very Sgt. Pepper, which I love that Paul does that. He did it even with Egypt Station. It's something that still sticks with him to make an album a complete work. Yeah. And though I love this album, I would say my favorite Wings album is probably Venus and Mars. And I know I've talked about that before.
I think I'm tied. Venus and Mars and Band on the Run are like right there. Both of them are
just a stellar record. I mean, it's just incredible.
And it still stands up. You can listen to it today, and there's
the standard pillars of classic rock radio on this album. And again, I saw McCartney back in May. It's the same stuff that you hear all the time. You know what the set's going to be, but
when he did Band on the Run, like I got misty eyed because I was like, man, I don't know. Like I don't know when I'm going to hear this again from him, if ever again. You know, so it was just one of those moments, like one of those great concert moments that I won't forget. And I'll,
I was the same when I heard him, because I saw him in like 2001 or maybe 2000 or 2002, something like that. And when he did that, I had the same emotional reaction. It's like this, and his band is so damn good. They play it note for note perfect.
Yeah, and they've been together for 20 plus years now.
Yeah. He's been together along with those guys than anybody, than the Beatles or Wings or anybody
combined.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number, what are we at? 4?
4.
Oh, I'm going prog on you guys. Sorry. One of my favorite Yes albums, Tales from Topographic Oceans. Absolutely brilliant album. When this came out, it was considered bloated and too long, and the critics hated it because it followed like Close to the Edge and Fragile and all those masterpieces. But it turned out in the long run that this is considered one of their greatest albums. And that first, The Revealing Science of God, the first 20 minutes or whatever of this album is just an absolute masterpiece of a song. And Tales from Topographic Oceans, and a great cover by Roger Dean too.
It's a great. I know it's a Chris Prophy favorite as well.
Yeah, it's a great album. Yeah, so that's my number 4. Okay, let me get caught up here. John, Piano Man number 4. I know John's a huge Billy Joel guy.
Yeah.
Houses of the Holy number 4.
There you go, Rich. That showed up earlier for me.
There's the other early Springsteen album that we had, Asbury Park, and now we got The Wild, the Innocent, and E Street Shuffle. Both of those came out in 73, eh? Both those albums?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's back in the day when people could do that. Like, I mean, like we talked about Elton earlier. People were putting out masterpieces twice a year.
You look at bands now, and they take like 5 years in between albums.
Oh, hey, that's a good review, Peter.
Thank you very much, Peter.
Thanks,
That's
Peter.
Very cool to hear. Daltrey, Roger Daltrey's first album is really good. You guys know that one? It was all the songs were written by, I think I shouldn't say all, but most of the songs were written by what was the guy's name? He had a couple of hit records. He dressed up like a clown kind of and had a couple of songs. But he was just a songwriter when he wrote these songs for Roger Daltrey, like Just a Boy, Giving It All Away, and all those songs on that album. That's a great record. If you haven't heard it, check it out. Got it. Great pick, Randy. That's my number 3. Rich, you're jumping ahead, but that's okay. Speaking of prog, has there been any love for ELP brain salad surgery yet? We haven't. Nobody's put it on their list, but I do love that album.
I will tell you, Peter, it will not be.
Thank you, Bob. Leo Sayer is the man I'm trying to think of. He wrote most of the songs on that Daltrey album.
Cool.
Thank you, Arnie. Yes.
That's the album with the Daltrey, like the hair in the front.
Yeah, it's a really good record.
That was the same year as Quadrophenia? Wow.
Went back and forth. How high? Genesis Live. There we go. Awesome. So now we're in the top 3.
All right. My number 3. Glenn is going to disagree with me on this, but that's okay. And again, this kind of continues the theme, and it was not intentional. John Lennon's Mind Games.
Very cool.
I love John Lennon. I loved that album when it came out. I don't know if it's just not as good as those. I don't think it's as good as the others two, but
not my favorite. John was my favorite Beatle, and as for my personal taste, I like his post Beatles stuff better than the other 3.
Yeah,
just something about his voice appeals to me. And my favorite Lennon album is the one no one ever thinks about, which is Rock and Roll. I love that record. And to me, Mind Games sounds a lot like that. It's that sort of up-tempo, it's an introspective album. He wrote it after some time in New York, which was very political, and he was having trouble with U.S. immigration, fighting his citizenship application, all that. So he wanted to make a record that was not political, and this was the start of his, his Lost Weekend, where he was separated from Yoko and all that. But it's just, his vocals in it are great. It sounds, like I said, sort of like that rock and roll album. It was the first album that he self-produced, his first post-Phil Spector project. So the fact that he recorded it in 2 months, self-produced it, mixed it in 2 weeks, I just love the album. Love it.
What's your favorite song on it?
Ooh.
Out the Blues on that album, right?
Out of the Blue, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That might be my favorite song on that album.
I think mine's probably Tight As.
Oh, Tight As, great song, yeah.
I mean, Mind Games is a great song, too.
Yeah.
I like everything on here.
That.
Very
Very
cool.
cool.
Mind Games.
Very cool.
I won't have any more Beatles on my list.
I won't argue with you with John.
You don't have the Pete Best, the 1973 album.
No, nor do I have any George Harrison. So.
Well, George put out, what I'm trying to think about George Harrison, Living in the Material World, was that his 73 album?
It was.
Well, I'm going to mention one that's already been mentioned. I've already mentioned him once. I've got to go with Elton.
There you go.
Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I mean, come on. We talked about the opening. Hearing it live is another worldly experience. Candle in the Wind, Benny and the Jets. Title track. I love Gray Seal. I love this song Has No Title. I love Jamaica Jerk Off. I've seen that movie before. I mean, I've seen that movie too. It's just so good. When I first heard it, I thought it was bloated, to be honest with you. I was like, and it might be. I mean, songs like Jamaica Jerk Off or, Dirty Little Girl or Sweet Painted Lady, they might be, might have been able to cut those, but you're still, it still needs to be a double record, even removing 2 or 3 of the songs, because it's like, yeah, but then you have a song like Harmony, which is beautiful, or Saturday Night for Fighting, or All the Girls Love Alice, which is a killer song, really creepy lyrics. And again, one that I heard live the first time that I saw him. So it was cool.
Oh, you've seen him? Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, I've seen him twice. I saw him once in 2015 when he was doing the Wonderful Crazy Night tour, and then I saw him on the farewell back in. I saw him in Charlotte, North Carolina, with my dad at the Carolina Panthers Stadium, Bank of America, AT&T Stadium. It was a killer show, just killer. And the first time I saw him, he opened with Funeral for a Friend, Love Live Is Bleeding, and the second time that was kind of like the mid-show, like intermission for him, I guess vocal rest. He could just play and then get into it. And he had his, he had his costume change at that point. But yeah, I mean, good night. This album is just killer. Again, it came out the same year as Don't Shoot Me. I mean, artists today are going 6 or 7 years between records. And even like the 20-year-old kids that are out there doing it, like, you're supposed to be at the height of your mental and creative prowess.
They were so prolific. The
record companies hold people back because they're like, we want this album, we want you to tour, we want you to do all the talk shows, blah blah blah, whatever.
There's too much analytics behind it, right? You put out the album, you got a tour, we need it to generate this much revenue.
Yeah, and if you just look at the 1970s, I mean, there's just the amount of work that Elton was putting out with albums like this, Don't Shoot Me, Captain Fantastic, Madman. It's just unbelievable what he did, or Stevie Wonder for that matter, kind of the same vein, where it was just boom, boom, boom. Classic record. But yeah, I could talk about this album for a long time. It's one that I hear something new every time I listen to it. So,
you know what I think the weakest song on the album is? Benny and the Jets.
Oh,
ooh.
Mate, no, for me it's maybe Your Sister Can't Twist. But
I'm not a Benny and the Jets guy. It's too cartoonish or something.
That's what he opened with when I saw him last time.
Yeah. But it's a great album. You're right. Now you're making me wish I had it on my list.
Well,
I'm going to put it
it's
on.
Not too late. You got 2 or 3 more picks.
Too late. Okay, well, hell with you guys. I'll suck up then. Band on the Run, number 3. What else can we say? We've talked about it enough, but it's arguably one of the great albums of the 70s, not just 73. It's just a great McCartney album.
Did you know, Sam, that Count Dooku is on the cover of Band on the Run?
I did know that Count Dooku's on the cover.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Sure
Glenn's
enough.
like, what the hell are you guys talking about? It's Star Wars, Glenn.
Yeah.
And James Coburn as well.
Yep.
Yes, James Coburn. Yep. Okay, that was quick. Let me get here's an artist I have none of his albums and don't listen to. I'm not really into ambient stuff and that. I don't know if Brian Eno's always does that kind of electronic ambient stuff, but that's why
I like the work you did
associate
with
him
U2.
I didn't have Band on the Run in my collection, but you are all talking about it. Just made me order it.
You will not be disappointed, Jim.
We love helping people part with their money. That's our motivation for doing this. Bob Marley had 2 great albums in '73, like Bruce. What albums? Because were Marley's albums, Randy? The Isley Brothers, 3+3. That lady was a scorcher. I can come up if you have me on. I know it's late in the game. Yeah, come on up. What the heck?
Hope he's done his exercises.
I think I put it up there, John.
Are we taking wagers whether he's sitting in his record room or walking?
This is another album I had a really hard time leaving off. I love the Allman Brothers, and Brothers and Sisters is a great album. I saw them on that tour in Buffalo in 1974 or 3, I guess it was. Yeah. Great
Oh,
album.
he's not walking. I was wrong.
Hey, John.
Hey, John.
Hey, guys.
Randy picks Closing Time number 3. I picked it number 8, I think, Randy. John.
Wow.
Dark Side of the Moon, number 3. I get the feeling that's gonna you guys are gonna have it coming up. We'll see.
It'll be a first pressing
2
too.
more to go. That's an album I have to replace. I've got a scratched up Dark Side of the Moon. I have it on CD, but I really want at some point I got to replace my vinyl.
That statement could go many different ways, Glenn.
What's that?
That you have a scratched up Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, yeah, I'm taking medication.
Maybe you should go to your proctologist.
Yeah, I'm taking medication for it now. She got some cream.
Too much toilet paper.
Roxy Music for Your Pleasure and Stranded. Roxy Music's a band that the Avalon album. You guys ever heard the Avalon album, Roxy Music? It's fantastic, and that's the only album I've ever really paid attention to. Love Band on the Run, but I think Ram is better. Yeah, Ram's my favorite McCartney album, so I'm good with that. Bob F says hello to John.
Hello.
Brothers and Sisters and Desperado are my last 2 cuts. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Burnin' and Catch a Fire. Okay, yeah, both really good albums. Love me some Marley.
I have to
So we're
check
at the
this out. Yeah.
Top 2.
Number 2, Rob.
All right. So my number 2, I hope I don't get disqualified for this one, but it did come out in 1973. Just let me finish.
It's getting salty.
I'm going to throw a wrench at you, Rob.
That's right, John.
I wish I could throw a wrench back, but I don't have one. So.
Here, I took it. There you go.
There you go. So this is a compilation or a greatest hits compilation that came out in '73. And the reason I included it, because no one said anything about no greatest hits, and it did come out in '73.
Oh, there no greatest hits.
Well, too goddamn late.
By the way,
One of the greatest hits albums of all time is profoundly influential in my life.
In '73. The
Hollies'
Hollies'
greatest
greatest hits.
Love
We'll
that
let you
record.
have it. We'll let you have it. We didn't make any rules against greatest hits albums.
You didn't.
No.
And it spent like 20 weeks in the top of the charts or something.
Oh, you have to be an idiot to put a greatest hits album on the list, but other than that, it's no problem. No, that's a great album. I have no problem with that.
Thank
poor
you.
Rob. Rob
I mean, so it spans her hits from 65 to 72. It's got, Graham Nash is on 9 of the songs before he left the band.
Yeah.
Bus Stop is the reason I like this, and that's an embarrassing story I don't want to get into. But there's some other great stuff on here, like Long Cool Woman in a Black.
Now we
Wait a
gotta
minute,
know.
wait.
Now we gotta know what
You're
happened.
still the greatest hits. You've got to tell the
You
story.
gotta at least make
No,
them
I don't
do
have
it.
to do
What
nothing.
could possibly, let's make something up. What could happen to him at a bus stop?
He
Well,
ate the
nothing
gum
happened at a
off
bus
the
stop
bench.
or anything.
Did a girl like break up with him at a bus stop? They're waiting for a bus, and she's going, you know what? I'm sick of you.
Was there some money
I'm
exchange?
getting on the bus, and you're not.
Money change there.
Or you're getting on the bus, and I'm not.
Maybe someday, if I do another video about records that marked important moments in my life, I will share that story. But not tonight.
Scarred for life at a bus stop.
Yeah. Anyway, I played the living shit out of this album when I was 15 or 16, so I had to include it.
That's great. And the Hollies to me are a band where I don't own any of their studio albums.
Right.
It's a great.
Neither do I.
That's a perfect band for me to have a greatest hits album of.
That's a killer greatest hits. I mean,
Yeah.
Carrie Ann, King Midas in Reverse is on there. Carousel, those are some of my favorites.
Yeah, Carousel's great.
I love
He ain't
Carousel.
heavy. He's my brother.
He ain't
Yeah.
heavy. Long, cool woman.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good pick, Rob.
All right.
Thank you.
Uh-oh.
What is Sam going to do for his top two? Big questions.
I'll pick a greatest hits. Then I'll beat you up for it.
Yeah, well, after that, I'll tell you about the story of me at the bus stop.
Mm.
Remind me.
All right.
Dark Side.
Dark Side.
Yeah. What? I mean, come on. I've the more that I listen to this, I'm inclined to agree with our friend Jeff Witcher, who says, even though it might not be your favorite album of all time, it might very well be the greatest rock and roll album of all time as a full, record, as a full production, as a full theme, everything about it. It's just it is a perfect album to me. And I again, like Glenn was saying, I mean, mine is starting to get beat up the spine as you can start seeing the cardboard coming through, because I've played this album to death. I got it, when I was about 16, about that prime age where you're like, hey, you should listen to this album. And obviously,
So like 10 years ago. Then.
right? Actually, 4 years ago. But yeah, what can you do? But I mean, obviously, because I was at this point, I was basic in my music knowledge. I was listening to the classic rock radio, so I was hearing, Freebird and Stairway and all that stuff. So obviously, I was like, I love the song Money. I'm like, man, that sounds so good. And finally, I was like, all right, let me get the full album. And I'm like, wow, that's insane. Like I said earlier during the pre-conversation chat, the song Time is just an incredible piece of music. Brain Damage into Eclipse is it's just a fully realized concept. It's the best thing Roger Waters ever did. Richard Wright never played better than he played on this album, like on the song Any Color You Like. It's just a soundscape. The Great Gig in the Sky is just unbelievable, and that vocal, improv. Speak to Me and Breathe, just that doom 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 doom, just this. It's just incredible. That's how the album ends. It's how it begins. It's just a perfect record, and it's number 2.
Yeah.
Well,
I
what
go
could
back
be
and
more
forth.
perfect than that? That's going to be your number 1 after that sales job. This will
Yeah,
be
no kidding. Yeah.
Right.
I go back and forth between that and Wish You Were Here. They're very close. It's
I
hard to
prefer
snap.
Wish You Were Here, but
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
go back and forth.
Wow. John, we're going to let you go next with your number 2.
My number 2, I think you already brought him up, but I'll bring him up again. Tom Waits.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Number 2. Wow.
Yeah,
Love it.
I play the crap out of this once I discovered it when I started collecting vinyl. And this was one of my first albums by him, and I just played it and played it and played it. Old 55 and as in Hoping I'll Fall in Love with You Tonight on this one.
Yeah.
I'll fall in love with you.
Yeah.
I just love the whole story behind that. So this got me on a Tom Waits kick, and now I have a ton of his stuff over there.
Wow. Very cool.
Number 2.
Very cool. Love it. My number 2. I don't think anybody up on screen has had it, but it's been mentioned a couple times. And I just think it's an amazing album. For Every Man, Jackson Browne.
Yep.
Yep.
I fell in love with Jackson Browne from this album. I heard this before I heard Saturate, before Using or the debut. I'd heard Dr. My Eyes on the radio, and that song really didn't, it was okay, but it didn't really do anything for me until after I got used to his how brilliant he was. But I think the star of this album is David Lindley. He plays like an acoustic guitar that weaves all through this album, these acoustic leads, and all the songs blend together. It's just in the song For Every Man at the end. And then David Lindley plays this light electric guitar lead that ends the album, and it just fades out. And I wish that lead break would go on for an hour. It's so pretty.
I seem to recall a video recently where someone was talking about David Lindley.
Yeah. David Lindley's just a great musician. But when he was in the band, Jackson was never better than when he was in this band. But I just absolutely friggin' love that album.
Yep.
That's my number 2. Let's get... Okay, here's a question for you, Rob.
No.
Oh, that brought a tear to his eye. I think we've hit
Uh-oh.
it.
No, not at all. I'm good.
Brain salad surgery. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, number 2. It's getting a lot of love, man. It might be winning for the most popular of the albums that we've talked about.
We should have been
Google's Rhyme
keeping a
of
running
Time.
count of the repeats, just the same.
I have kept a running count. I didn't keep a track of John's, but Overnight Sensation, I that was my number 10, Michael, or number 9. Lou Reed, Berlin. I'm personally not a Lou Reed fan. I know he's like so well respected, but he didn't make my list. Monty Python, Matching Tie and Handkerchief. That's pretty cool. I was wrong. I have Stay with the Hollies. Oh, that album. Goat's Head Soup. That was mentioned earlier. Great album. No Beatles in 2-3. Well, there's no. Well, I don't know what that means, Jim, but there was no Beatles albums in 73. Unless one of the Hits albums came out in 73 and we missed it.
When was the Red album or the Blue album?
I'm not sure when they came out.
Red and Blue came out in 73.
Did they?
73.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
And top three. That's what
Oh,
He might be being facetious. I don't know.
you had us going
Yeah.
there. I have no idea what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
There
heaven
we
knows.
go. Okay, we're
There it
number
goes.
1.
Bum, bum. Big pressure, Rob. This better not be a compilation.
Rob's gonna love my
It's
number 1.
not.
I'm just wondering. I just
Okay.
waiting to see what his is.
I think Glenn and I might have the same number 1.
Uh-oh. Don't give it away, Glenn.
Wow.
That's
keep it a
Desperado
straight
by the
face.
Eagles.
What's
Desperado
the
by
price?
the Eagles.
Let's see the price sticker. Is that like an old copy with an old price sticker on it?
It's an original copy, and some butthead put a sticker on it, and I just, I
Oh,
haven't
so-
done the lighter fluid trick to get it off, but I paid $6 for it.
Well, the wax says you can just use a dry erase marker and a
Oh, does
handkerchief.
he? All right. I'll have to give that
Yeah.
a shot.
He has
This
a
is-
ton
I
of
mean,
handkerchiefs around.
I'm a big Eagles fan. I love the Eagles.
Mm.
This was their second album. They sort of envisioned it as a concept album about outlaws and anti-heroes. It's great. It's I like the image on the back. It's them. It's the band
Oh, yeah.
recreating the capture of the Doolin Dalton gang or the Wild Bunch, and
Mhm.
this is actually the band laying down here along with Jackson Brown and J.D. Souther.
Yep.
It's great. It's got I think the hits on here: Desperado, Tequila Sunrise. But what I love about it is, Doolin Dalton is kind of a great song, but then they do a reprise of it later in the record, and same with Desperado. There's a reprise at the end, which most people don't hear because most people are just familiar with the single. But it's a good. I like the early. I mean, I like all the Eagles, and this is obviously pre Joe Walsh, who's my hero. But I like the Bernie Leadon, Randy Meisner, the original Eagles. So it's Desperado, my favorite album from '73.
Good one.
Very interesting.
My lips
All
are
right.
sealed.
This
That
has
one song on there. Sorry, Sam. The one where it's all harmonies. Seven Bridges Road. Is that on Desperado?
No, that
No.
was only put out on Eagles Live.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that was never on a studio album.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Sam.
which is crazy because that's usually what they open with these days.
Yep.
All right.
Sam's number 1.
This album has been mentioned, I know, in the Peanut Gallery.
Better than
yeah.
Dark Side.
I think Glenn mentioned it. John's mentioned it at some point, as in just recently.
Yes,
Oh,
okay,
Number
all right.
one.
Closing time. Tom
Damn.
Waits.
Yeah.
The John
Wow.
Prine and Tom Waits.
I mean, again, if people know me, they know this is where I'm going.
Yeah.
It's been talked about that some of these when I play Tom Waits songs, on guitar, I'm pulling from this album. Martha, Grapefruit Moon. I hope that I don't fall in love with you in Old Shoes.
Yep.
4 of the greatest songs in my for the songs that I know, all of the songs that I know, those 4 really strike a nerve with me. It's just unbelievably well written. The piano playing is great. The singing fits perfectly with the style that he's writing, and like that saloon singer persona that he took on. I mean, Tom Waits sounds so cool. He sounds like somebody that's lived 100 lifetimes, and I'm pretty sure he was only like 24, 25, and he sounded grizzled already. Smoking the cigarettes and drinking the bourbon at the bar, or he'll have another stout as Tom Waits sang. But it's just a perfect album. It's an album that I came into later in my life. I knew Dark Side far earlier than I knew this song. My mom got me into this album actually, and this album it opened all the doors to Tom Waits for me. And I mean, I love every era of Tom Waits. I love this. I love Rain Dogs. I love Closing Time. I mean, I love Mule Variations. I love Tom Waits. I love the singles, just the weird demos that he did. I love his acting, just everything about Tom Waits. I love it. And, I wish that he would give us another record. I just want one more record from Tom Waits, one more tour for the fans. It's been well over a decade now, and we need you, Tom. So
I'm sure he's watching.
Number one.
Hanging out with Dave
choice,
Grohl
Sam.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah, right. He's with Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
Wow. Very
Well said.
cool. I like that. John, what's number one?
Oh, I'm going. Okay. All right. So it's one that nobody's brought up. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this album. That's my number one.
Oh,
Very cool.
It stayed with me forever. I'm like, I did it by, okay, what albums do I play the crap out of? What albums have I constantly played the crap out of since I'm like 17, 16? And it's this one. I mean, I'm with you, Sam. Probably the weakest one is Your Sister Can't Twist. It's just too fast and varied for me.
Yeah.
But other than that, not a dead song on this whole album.
No.
I love everything he did on this. I mean, he just poured it out. And then, yeah, like you said, he goes and does the other album right after this. It's like, this is the Elton John phase that I love. And then the stinkers came pretty soon after, but
Yep.
this is the one. And you've already kind of mentioned everything on it, but yep, that's my number one.
wow. Fantastic.
You've heard of this, right? This album? Okay.
I think
Yeah,
so.
we've all heard of that album.
Okay,
That's
cool.
crazy. That got a lot of love tonight, man. Even in
Yeah.
the Peanut Gallery, they were all shouting out the love for that album. My number one, Rob, you were right.
Oh, there it is.
Freaking fantastic album. See, I'm a huge fan of the Eagles before Joe Walsh joined. I think they not they suck, but Joe Walsh's solo career went downhill when he joined the Eagles, and it was good for him financially, but I don't think it was good for him musically to join the Eagles. But so I'm more of a fan of from One of These Nights back. They're my albums, and Desperado is absolutely.
I could see that. I much prefer the Eagles with Randy Meisner than Tim
Yeah.
Schmidt. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is-
Oh yeah.
Just a brilliant album, and there's so much banjo on it, and an album that really, really. I mean, there's certain albums I think of that really encouraged me to learn that instrument, and one was Zeppelin 3 with Gallows Pole. The other one's John Hartford's Aerial Plane album, and Desperado were like the 3 albums that I point to that had a profound effect on my life. So this album means a hell of a lot to me, and I think it's great. And that reprise at the end, the Desperado, I played in a band in Alberta in the early 80s, and I was fortunate enough to play with 2 guys who could sing harmonies like you have no idea, and we used to do that whole reprise.
nice. I think that's maybe my favorite part of the album.
Oh, me too. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's oh man, I love that freaking album. Wow, that was amazing.
That was cool.
A lot of matches, but not a lot of exact. I think Rob and I were the only two, right? With Man on the Run.
Yep.
That actually had a match on the ranking.
Yeah, on this thing. But I don't know. I think like
I had Band on the Run.
did you have Band on the Run on your list too?
Me.
I did. I had him at number 5.
See,
Yeah,
I
I
think
had
Band
it.
on the Run's the one that was unanimous.
Mine was 4. Well, was Yellow Brick Road?
Yellow Brick
Did
Road, I
everybody-
didn't have.
Oh, that's right.
Come on, man.
So I think Band on the Run, like, but with all the people on, everybody who was talking about Band on the Run,
Yeah.
I mean, I think those two albums are probably, you'd have to say are neck and neck for the big picks of the night. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road and Band on the Run. Not bad choices either.
Yeah, more in your pop rock kind of,
Yeah.
not too obscure, you know.
Rich picks Dark Side of the Moon as number 1.
Yeah, absolutely
November.
nothing wrong with that.
Was awesome. Sensational Alex Harvey Band next. I have one of their albums. They're actually pretty good. Randy Nelson, Larry Graves turned me on to those guys. Quadrophenia, absolutely, Randy.
We knew that was coming, Randy.
Yeah, Steve. Yeah, it's a Steve Young song.
Scholarship. It was originally called Stephen Bridges Road.
Yeah. Wow, that was pretty cool. Amazing. What else is going on, boys? Anything exciting? Did you guys see my video today on that the Rolling Stones box set?
Haven't
No,
watched
I
it yet.
No,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
So I made a joke video on getting I won't go into details, the Rolling Stones in mono, the colored vinyl set that's coming out at the end of the month or Friday or whenever it's coming out. And I said, I just got mine in the mail, and I did an unboxing of it, unveiling of it, and kind of doctored it a bit just to say that. But what surprised me is so many of the comments going, "Oh, congratulations!" It was clear that I didn't get it, and that I was.
And you said you paid what, $800 for
I said I
it?
paid $800 for it.
Well,
and
I saw
and
it come
it
up
was
in.
a total joke, and the video is only 3 minutes long.
You're like, I was
saw it
lying to
come up in my.
everybody.
I saw
And-
it come up in my
I
feed,
got like
and I'm like,
20
I thought you
comments
didn't
going,
get it.
"Oh, congratulations, man! That's really good. You got that all." Did you watch the video?
It's a quick
I'm
one.
trying to fit a colored vinyl album into a CD sleeve.
It's only like a 3-minute video. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
He had
great.
inspiration strike and just started filming.
Oh man. Yeah, it just shows some people don't watch your videos; they just comment.
Oh yeah, or the people that will comment to let you know if they've done it, and then they'll go like do work or whatever before they
Yeah.
watch it.
Well, sometimes I typically I'm commenting while I'm watching your video because at the end of it I don't want to forget what I wanted to say, so I keep commenting, and then if you get called away or the phone rings or something, you press thing, and then you go
Yeah.
go back. So I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
So, what are some that you guys left off? Like, what would be your 11, 12? What kind of?
Oh, good question.
For
Yeah.
Every Man was on mine, and it got the boot. Like I've said, if I invested more, probably Ramen Simon. Figures Ramen Simon would be on there.
Did that have the late great Johnny Ace on that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. ELO 2 also came out that year. Nobody put that on there. That
Which
was
album?
ELO 2.
That's a good album. I never even thought about that one.
Yeah.
Can I run down some of mine? I
Yeah.
did 20 albums I made a list of. So here's the ones that I can think of that didn't. Dixie Chicken by Little Feat.
Hmm.
Lark's Tongue and Aspect by King Crimson. Ooh La La, The Faces. Aladdin Sane, David Bowie. The Smoker You Drink, Joe Walsh, which Rob had. Goat's Head Soup. Brothers and Sisters. Hard Nosed the Highway. Sweet Revenge, John Prine. Mind Games. And they were all the ones I left off. That made my top 20.
I bumped Dark Side. It was number 11, and I think number 12 for me was Tres Hombres.
I had a really hard time leaving Dark Side off because it's such a phenomenal album, but I figured it was going to get a lot of love, so I figured I could get away with it.
Yeah, and again, if I was more familiar with the album, this album Birds would probably have made it too, because
Yeah.
I like the Chris Hillman songs on that album.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Got to roll, guys. Thanks, Rich.
Thank you, Rich.
Always appreciate it. Tres Hombres made. Did that make somebody's list? I don't think it made our list, did it?
It was
Yeah,
in
maybe
Peanut
mine.
Gallery.
I think
One
it
of
was
the
my number.
commenters had it. Oh no, you had it, right, John?
Yeah, I had it at number
Yeah.
8. Number 8, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Golden Earring, Moontan. Yeah, that's a pretty good album. Rich is going again. Great 90 minutes plus from all of you. Thank you.
The female, I know you. Well,
Did any no female artist made
the only
that
one I
list?
saw was there was a Bonnie Raitt album, but I wasn't really familiar with it.
Yeah, I don't
Only
know if it was a
female-
big strong year for female
Yeah.
artists because I didn't see many that I'm usually a fan of female artists. I didn't see any that really.
Joni wasn't there.
Wow.
No,
I think that should be a homework for all of us for next week. Just go back to this list of 73 and pick one album by a
wow.
female artist. Just to give it some love.
there's a Roberta Flack that came out in '73 with "Killing Me Softly."
See, I couldn't do that. That's too.
I don't know about the whole album.
Yeah, that's too croonish for me.
That's still a good song. Come on.
Yeah, Rob had that earlier, Michael.
Rob had Aloha from Hawaii. Elvis got some love tonight.
I'm glad Elvis made it.
Yeah, I'm not the only
Yeah.
one.
Just
that like
listening to Trey Zombie first time yesterday. Wow. It's a great album, yeah.
I just did a short on that today.
Yoko released Infinite Universe or whatever it's called. Yeah.
No comment on Yoko.
I'm with you, John.
Yeah. We love Yoko, but
I stay positive.
just not musically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Yoko as a person. Definitely.
Yeah.
Carly, Simon, Linda Ronstadt. I don't know what they had.
What did
Linda
Linda put out in
Ronstadt
73?
released an album. Yeah.
Was she still with Stone Pony at that point, or was she?
No,
on?
No, she was way on her own by then.
She was well established because the Eagles were doing that thing pretty
yeah.
heavy. Yeah.
Yeah. What Linda Ronstadt album came out that year? I had most of those albums from the
let me
70s,
see.
early 70s.
Oh, Saul Salito.
Sausalito.
Oh, I don't even know that album.
Is that the one where she sings a little bit in Spanish? Oh no, that's not the
No,
one.
that was later on.
No, she
Yeah.
did that in the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't know Sausalito. I don't know if I've ever heard of it.
That's that. I don't know.
Never
She
seen
also-
that album before.
No, 73 was Don't Cry Now.
Oh, Don't Cry Now. That's a great album. I have that.
Yep.
That's a real country album.
I've got Silver Threads and Golden and Desperado. That's pretty
yeah.
cool. Was that before Desperado came out?
No.
Did she do it?
Well,
first?
it was
Oh,
out,
no,
but it
she did it about
was
the
out,
same
but
time.
it wasn't a hit.
She was doing. It wasn't a hit song.
She made it a hit because
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
version got
Yeah.
popular. The Eagles version
That's it.
got popular.
Yeah, this is just a live broadcast that came out later. That's what this
And she
is.
did Sail Away by Randy Newman on that.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, that's
great
good.
cover of that song.
I know. I got to get some Linda Ronstadt, right? Like I always just
I
kind
got a
of push
bunch.
it off.
She's great.
I know. I got it.
I'm pretty sure YouTube. You can watch the Eagles. There was like what was the TV show that was on back? The Donald Kirshner or whatever show or Midnight Special or something. They did an Eagles live. They had Jackson Brown on with them. They had Linda Ronstadt with them, and they were doing the Desperado album. And
Oh,
I'm
wow.
pretty sure Linda Ronstadt sings Desperado on that, and I'm pretty sure that video is available on YouTube.
If you're gonna get some Linda Ronstadt, John, start with Simple Dreams. That's fantastic.
Yeah, Simple Dreams is a kind of a more rocking one, I would say. Well, it's got Blue Bayou on it, but
Okay.
it's got Tumbling
Got
Dice
Tumbling
on
Dice,
it.
which is my favorite
Yeah.
song ever.
Okay. Yeah, I got to. There's artists you want to check out, and they just kind of get pushed to the
Don't
side.
Cry Now is more of a country-ish album, I would say. It's really good, though.
She just has an
Yeah.
amazing voice, you know.
Oh, incredible. She was a big star, boy, back in the 70s.
She pumped out a lot of albums, and considering that she hasn't really performed in 20 some years,
Yeah.
she did a lot of work and finished at a relatively young age in her 50s.
Yeah, and now not doing well, I guess. I mean she's old.
Health wise, she's pretty
Health-
good, but
Yeah.
It's just
It's
she can't sing.
affect her vocals or something,
Yeah.
right? She can sing.
I know she just did a book, and I think she did like a cookbook too for like
Yeah.
Mexican cuisine.
Yeah. Whatever she had. I can't remember what does she have MS or something? Or
No, Parkinson's.
Parkinson's?
It's in the throat though. Yeah.
Yeah. That affected her vocal cords.
Carly
Carly
Simon.
Simon, No Secrets. That's probably her best album. That had You're So Vain on it. And,
Yeah, I couldn't. I had that. I got it, and I just didn't get into that album for some reason.
Yeah, I think it's probably kind of dated.
Yeah,
That album.
I don't know. She just never took it to that point for me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
You're So Vain, I still like, and especially now now that I know Mick Jagger was on it. Now I hear his voice every time I hear the song.
Yeah.
I never heard it before. Now I'm like, oh yeah, there he is.
And she says the song wasn't about him, though.
Sure, she was looking right at him when she sang it.
Yeah.
Wasn't
She
warned.
kind of looks like him.
I think she told.
Yeah.
She told like one person. I think it might have been like Miley Cyrus or somebody
He
crazy.
told Howard Stern, I think.
Yeah, and it was supposedly Warren Beatty is what it was.
Well, that's the talk, but there's also James Taylor's also in the talk too.
He doesn't seem like a vain guy though.
No.
Thank you, Peter. Been a fun night. Glad I caught it. Just saw David mention No Secrets. Yeah, I had that album back in the day and really liked it. I haven't heard it for like 40 years, I'll bet.
Yeah. Buckingham Nicks. No.
Oh,
I-
shit,
well,
I can't
that's the
believe
one
I
I thought
forgot
was
that.
going to be on your list.
Wow.
Ah,
Yeah. I know there was some that
Damn
were on the
it.
list that I was looking at. Yeah.
I thought Rob was going to have that one for sure.
I forgot. I have it. I own it. I've got a first
Yeah.
pressing of it.
It's a really good album.
It's fantastic.
You're
Yeah.
gonna move that to your number one now?
Yeah. How
Yes,
far? Would,
actually, I probably would move that to, or maybe
Wow.
number 2.
How could that album not be reissued at some point?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. This would be great. I don't
Does
see
someone
it.
does someone own the rights to it that doesn't want
Well,
it out? Or?
I suspect probably because Lindsay and Stevie don't get along these days. That's probably why.
Yeah, but even when they were getting along, it wasn't.
It doesn't
I mean,
help,
the
yeah.
album's from 1973.
Yeah,
They were getting
maybe
along.
maybe they don't own the publishing rights. I don't
That's
know.
what I'm thinking. There's something they don't own it. There's something going on there.
I've never
It's
seen
weird.
that.
And it's not. It's a great sounding
No,
record. Too.
here's
It's
the-
fantastic.
here's a big question: what are the chances we'll get Stevie and Lindsay on stage again together?
No, I don't think it's going to happen.
It's late in the game. Yeah.
People seem to get old. They get crustier.
Yeah, like Crosby with Neil Young and
I
Neil
think,
Young.
now, I think now with Christine's passing, I don't think we're ever going to see Fleetwood Mac ever again.
Have you guys watched the David Crosby documentary on
If I could remember my
Brave or
name.
HBO or something?
Yeah,
No, I
I
haven't
just
seen
watched
that.
it the other day. It was pretty good actually.
I saw it in the theaters when it came out, like at our indie theater. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was good.
interesting.
Because that documentary, it was funny because it was a lot of Crosby that year. 'Cause I saw Crosby that year live, but also it was like less than a year between that and Echo in the Canyon. He had just been in that.
I love that Echo in the Canyon. I have that album.
Yeah, I was saying yesterday on our stream that
Yeah.
I'll listen to it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just,
great soundtrack.
And it just makes
From,
you miss
from Doc.
Petty. And him just looking at the Rickenbackers and him in the guitar store, and you're just like, I want
I
Petty
watched
back.
today when I listened when I was at work from 2014 when Petty was doing those small shows at the Beacon, where he sang "Best of Everything" for the first time in like a long time, if not ever. And that song from Southern Accents is just it's just incredible with Richard Manuel on the background vocals and Robbie playing guitar. It's just a perfect track. But yeah, I agree about Echo in the Canyon. It's Petty's last recorded film interview, and yeah, I miss that. I miss that guy every single day. I think about it.
Yep, that's when it hit
Yeah.
hard. Definitely.
Gone too soon, no
Yeah.
doubt. The Cher and Greg Allman album, wasn't that a classic? Man and His Woman or something it was called. Yeah, that was a misstep for Greg. Lindsay Buckingham owns the rights. Stevie said for some reason he doesn't want it released. Oh, interesting.
So there's only the first pressings available. Like that was how it came out.
Yeah,
Black Beauty. So I'm not familiar with that one. I love Miles, but I'm not familiar with that
I'm
one.
not familiar with that either.
Is that a fusion album? Is he in the fusion stage?
Oh,
at
it's
that point?
73.
I would say 73s. I would say he is.
He is heavy into it.
Yeah.
Because its first fusion, it wasn't Bitches Brew, was it?
Miles in the Sky was kind of 50-50. It was like half
Yeah.
acoustic, half fusion.
Well, on the corner.
Yeah. Sorcerer,
Yeah.
that one.
Okay.
Do you guys have a favorite Miles album?
Yes.
Sketches of Spain.
Okay, yeah.
Sketches of Spain is great.
Yep.
I just
Yeah.
watched Melinda Murphy's video today. She was wearing a Sketches of Spain shirt. It was
Oh, really?
nice. Beautiful shirt.
She's getting a little edgy. She's getting a little
Yeah,
was
she's
that
getting a
the-
little pissy.
She was talking about the prices of reissues, right? Is that the
Yeah.
video from today?
Yeah, it was good to see your ranting. Yeah.
Yeah, she was. I was like, all right, go get them.
Yeah. We all need to rant a bit more about that. Maybe stop. I don't know what's going to happen.
We keep buying them. That's
Prices
the
are-
thing. We keep
Yeah,
buying
as
them,
long
so
as
they
people
keep
keep
going.
paying for it.
Yeah.
But in Canada, we're expecting a 30-40% increase in the 1st of February.
Yes, yeah, you're saying that. Jeez.
That's insane. Like
Yeah.
I just can't see myself paying $50 for a new record.
Yeah, and
If
then
I can buy the CD for 15 to 20.
yeah, and then I think you saw my BB. I keep saying BB King, Muddy Waters, that folk singer
Yeah.
box set, and I was surprised. The album was warped. I mean, this is like $125
It's a $125 album with no quality control. I was
like
shocked.
that, and yeah, it had the tears on the spine.
Yeah.
and it sounded phenomenal. I mean, even though it was going like this, it sounded great.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine said, get a hold of MoFi, because I told you I have an extra one that I kept just, for trading purposes maybe. I was tempted to open that, but I'm like, maybe I'll call MoFi. Maybe I can get this one replaced and do it that way.
I would.
Yeah,
I think you should.
it's an amazing
Tell
album.
them to send them a picture of it or something. Like, that's insane.
I'll just say, look at my YouTube video. You see how many people have watched it now?
So
Yeah.
to keep in line with with our topic of tonight, I did a short this afternoon, but I'm sure y'all saw it too. Pink Floyd put up a quick little teaser today, about 10 seconds with the thump from Dark Side, doom doom, and it said it had the pyramid and it said March 2023.
Well, I've heard they're coming out with like Dark Side came out on a Super Audio CD, and I've heard that they are releasing it again on SACD, a new version of it.
You think they're going to do it like Animals last year, like just
Maybe.
a remix, or you think they'll do a full box set?
Or maybe they might do it the way they did Wish You Were Here a few years ago. They put it like a book, it's the size of a book, hardcover.
Okay.
And it had an SACD and I think a regular CD in it.
Yeah, because
can't
they're pretty stingy about their archives, aren't they?
Yeah.
Especially the two main players are still alive.
Yeah.
I can't see them messing with the mix too much on Dark Side. You don't touch that one,
Yeah.
Animals, we're willing to try it, but Dark Side, I don't know. Unless you can just make it sound
Yeah,
better.
you wouldn't do too much with it.
No.
Yeah. Although just with the technology these days, you can just clean things up a little bit and make it sound a bit, more spacious or something,
Yeah, like Revolver. They did that with Revolver.
Paul Rogers singing Muddy Water CD. I've heard that. It's actually not
I love
a bad album.
Yeah, I like Paul Rogers.
Yeah. Oh, he's a great singer. One of the great rock singers.
Yeah,
He's
just
got
listen
quite
to
a
the
resume.
And the last time I heard, it's still pretty good. His voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's he with now?
holds up.
With back with Bad Company, or
He's still with Bad Company. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they still
Okay.
touring?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was
Is it
actually
all
pretty.
the original guys too? Are they all still kicking?
I would say at least 3 of them are original, or at least long time.
What was the name of the guitar player?
oh, see, that's the band I don't know all the players. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know the players.
I just knew Paul Rogers.
Bad Company.
Oh, what
Mick,
I mean, how
Mick Rolfe. Mick
Oh,
Rolfe.
Simon Kirk is on drums.
Simon Kirk, Mick Rolfe.
Okay.
So yeah, Simon Kirk is the other original member with Paul Rogers, and the other 2 guys are more recent.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they're touring as a quartet.
Oh really? Now I wonder what they do. Play casinos?
No, they actually fairly recent. They were. I mean, they'll do like double tours with like Cheap Trick and.
Oh, okay. They'll be playing with the REO Speedwagon or something on a double bill or something.
But there is a really good live show from probably about 10 years ago where they were headlining Red Rocks. That's a really good show.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good.
That's very cool.
Let me see the members. Yeah, so
Well,
Mick Ralphs played up until 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of those early. The bass player died in 2006. I think Mick Ralphs had some health issues.
Well, guys, it's been 2 hours.
Yeah.
So
And I've only
you
used the
guys-
bathroom on my couch twice.
There you go.
You guys want to plug Rob? Go ahead. Say something. What's going on? Oh, first of all, I want to plug Rob's channel. Rob has been telling us his friend Bob Egan, who played in Wilco and Blue Rodeo, he was going to get together with and do a collaboration and talk about albums that meant a lot to Bob and his musical history and stuff. And it was an outstanding video. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It was
Thanks,
really
Glenn.
good job, man.
Yep.
And part
Thanks.
2, I think, is coming up. So sorry to steal your thunder, but go ahead.
No, that's good. I really enjoyed making it, and I'm in the midst of editing part 2 right now. You'll like that one, Glenn, because it's got a Grateful Dead story in it about when Bob met Jerry Garcia. So you'll like that. It's probably going to be up on Thursday.
Very cool. I'm looking forward to it. If it's can't miss TV, go to Rob's channel, watch it. Excellent.
Thanks.
Excellent interview. Sam, anything coming up?
Well, obviously, just the same old stuff on my channel. I do this once a week, which it's become a highlight of my week to do this with Rob and Glenn, and I'm glad John got to hop on the last few minutes here. And then Glenn and I are obviously always on Rich's channel, Rich Strickler, doing our Authentic Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ranking. And we just recorded an episode tonight for bands that made their first album / single in 1964, 65,
64.
64. So the last episode, 63, was just posted yesterday. So check that out on Rich's channel. I've been toying with the idea of starting a new series on my channel. I think I'm going to do it and see how it goes, and call it like Albums That Shaped Me, where I'm going to pull an album and just do one episode about some stories of my own personal life around the album, albums that turned me on to more music, albums that got me into, playing guitar, things like that. So I think I'm going to.
Great. That's great. I actually was thinking about a video series like that too. That's funny.
Yeah, and so I was on my walk today at lunch, and I was like, I need to do that because I've seen other people do something similar, and I'm like, I've got. I'd like to do that at least for 5 or 6 albums and see how it goes.
I think that's a great idea. I'll look forward to watching that.
Yeah, so that should be coming up.
Awesome. John, anything exciting going on?
Well, I just wanted to show Sam my Christmas tree.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's
I
still
got
up.
mine's on in the corner.
My wife needs that picture of the kids, and she hasn't gotten it yet, so she's not taking that picture down
Oh, that's awesome.
until she gets the year.
I can't show this. I hope my wife's not watching right now. She'd be going, I told you we didn't have to take our tree down.
Well, that was a dedication to Sam.
I love it. Thank you, John.
Yeah,
Mine was down 5 days after Christmas.
yeah. But no, I just do videos. I show my albums. I did the unboxing of Woody Waters the other day. I try to get out to record stores. Do the walk and talks. I was walking just before this. That's why I couldn't quite get on. So
We were worried about your health, John.
yeah, and my light's not working, so I couldn't get on there. You just see a black blob on there.
Wow,
So,
awesome. Well, that's
yeah.
great. I'm glad you joined us.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
This was a really fun one. This was really diverse.
It
Yeah.
was really good. You guys did, yeah. It was amazing. I'm loving doing these chats every Tuesday. So it's been absolutely phenomenal. I think we're getting better and better. Just my own biased opinion, but
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, you guys are picking up steam. This
we're
is
getting
great.
good. Yeah.
John's going to start using StreamYard so he can do some live chats too.
I might go on tonight. I might actually check this out.
And I guess
John was live the other night, and there was a few of us in the chat box, and we moved it over to an actual StreamYard live stream over on Concert Buddies channel, and that was a monster event. That one.
Oh, really?
Melinda
Mazzy was on. It was
Mazzy
great.
came on. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Linda was watching. It was great.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very cool. It was funny. I got up, maybe yesterday morning or something. I saw John's going, "Is anybody out there?" And I clicked on. It was like, I don't know what time you went. Was that like midnight or something? You were looking for people?
It's about 11 o'clock my time, and I got off about 1 or 2. Yeah. And that's why I do it at night, because everybody's in bed, so I can get on now. So
Oh God, I'm gone by then.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you'll miss
Sure.
tonight.
I guess it'll be a surprise. We haven't discussed next week's topic.
We'll figure something out on an email.
Yep.
Yeah,
It'll be good.
John, on one of your comments, I gave you my email address underneath. I don't know if you caught it or not.
Oh, I got to do that. Sorry, my bad. Yeah.
Okay,
gotta
send
send
me
it
an
to you.
email so I have your email address.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. I
Yeah.
don't know what happened there. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Definitely.
I just want to make sure you got it. Awesome.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
everyone
Glenn.
who watched. Thank you, and thanks for contributing. You all had great choices, and everybody did a great job. We'll see you next Tuesday, 8 p.m. We'll chat then.
All right. Thank you.
I love it.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye,
Take care.
everybody.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye, concert buddy.